Did David come back with a cold?
Police tape from the Vatican.
Hey, all right, that's pretty awesome. Thank you.
Add that to the collection here.
Talked to my sister on the phone, she's just been with her grandkids, she had a cold. Talked to Dennis, he just flew out from California, got a cold from his grandkids. I guess that's what they're good for.
Are you bringing it up when I?
Good evening. Yes, thank you.
What do you say there?
Whatever you want.
Mayor, sir, for a short while longer?
Very short while.
No, you didn't bring those hot ones, you said they weren't hot.
Yeah, I didn't want to have
I ran out of liquid.
I didn't want to be liable to me.
Can you get the pose of her picture?
What's it pay? Still ready.
So you gotta,
Or do we need to lean in or lean back or what?
you guys can lean back, and you guys can lean in.
You need to lean in. Yeah.
Smile back. Hold on, I gotta wait for Sherry. Are you gonna get in or out? Okay.
Kelly?
Are you ready?
Get in
One,
here, Kelly.
2. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Echo. What time you got? It's time. Well, I call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Aldermen for the month of April 2016. If you'll bear with me, we'll start the meeting with a little prayer here. Oh, gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for our beautiful little town on the hill here and all the fine people that make up that town. We ask if you would to look over the nice people of Edina and lighten their burdens. Also, if you would look in on the city employees as they go to about the day-to-day operations of the city, and please keep them safe. Also, Lord, we ask you if you would to look in on the elected and appointed officials, and please give them the vision and the wisdom and the perseverance to do things as you would have them done, Lord. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Renee, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, do we have minutes of prior meetings that we need to address?
Yes. March 14th, 2016, the Board of Aldermen met in regular session with Mayor Strickler presiding. Aldermen present: Ron Stansberry, Rick Winter, Dot Cricksizer, Delmer Strange, Ron Leckby. Absent: Renee Edwards. Mayor Strickler called the meeting to order and gave the invocation. The Pledge of Allegiance was led by Delmer Strange. Minutes of the February 8th meeting were read with one correction. The VFW representative attending the meeting was Virgil Doss. Collectors and treasurers' reports were given. Peggy Collins, city treasurer, met with the board. She said the budget needs to be amended to correct a $750 dumpster expense, which should be budgeted in sewer rather than water. Motion was made by Ron Stansberry and seconded by Rick Winter to amend the budget by decreasing the capital expenditures in the water department by $750 to $12,000 and increasing the capital expenditures in the sewer department by $750 to $200,750. Motion carried unanimously. Motion was made by Delmer Strange and seconded by Ron Stansberry to pay all bills as presented. Motion carried unanimously. Jordan Schultz of 404 East Linville Street addressed the board regarding his dog. He said Kelly Hayes, chief of police, had seen his dog and questioned him about it and told him that pit bull dogs are not allowed in town. Jordan said his dog is an unpapered mutt and is like a member of his family. He asked the board to allow him to keep his dog in town. According to section 14 of ordinance number 668, it shall be unlawful to own, keep, harbor, or in any way possess within the corporate limits of the city of Edina any pit bull dog or Rottweiler dog. The term pit bull dog in ordinance 668 is described as any mixed breed of dog which contains as an element of its breeding the breed of Staffordshire Bull Terrier, American Staffordshire Terrier, or American Pit Bull Terrier as to be identifiable as partially of the breed of Staffordshire Bull Terrier, American Staffordshire Terrier, or American Pit Bull Terrier. DNA testing was discussed as a way to determine the breed of the dog. Jordan suggested that the board consider his request and he could return to the April meeting for their decision. Hayes said that Jordan needs to take the dog out of town for the next 30 days. The board expressed a willingness to consider Jordan's request. Mark Bross of Klingner & Associates met with the board. He said the manhole issues reported at last month's meeting have been taken care of. He also reported that municipal pipe and tool should have been finished by now, but they are not, and it will probably be the 1st of April when their lining crew arrives. He reported that Keokuk contractors are close to wrapping up their work at the sewer plant. Bross presented pay requests for the contractors, and the following action was taken. Motion was made by Delmer Strange and seconded by Rick Winter to approve the Keokuk contractors pay request number 5 in the amount of $20,725.20. Motion carried unanimously. Motion was made by Rick Winter and seconded by Ron Stansberry to approve change order number 2, which increases the Keokuk contractors contract by $320 for additional wiring to make the aerators operational via the SCADA system. Motion carried unanimously. Motion was made by Doc Cricksizer and seconded by Ron Stansberry to approve the Klingner & Associates invoice in the amount of $4,449.80. Motion carried unanimously. Motion was made by Delmer Strange and seconded by Doc Cricksizer to approve a reimbursement to the city in the amount of $1,936.07 for a property owner's service that was missed when the plans were originally drafted. Motion carried unanimously. This amount will be refunded by the city to the property owner for their expenses incurred for sewer maintenance due to the fact this service was missed. Mark stated that the estimate of funds to be requested from USDA Rural Development is $27,111.07. Motion was made by Ron Stansberry and seconded by Rick Winter to approve the estimate of funds recommended by Mark Bross. Motion carried unanimously. Bross updated the board on the Fulton Street issue, saying there is a potential solution. He said he will have more to report after checking the grade and getting a price from the contractor. He also reported that the Purcell Street sewer project cannot move forward until the easements are signed. Mike Wright agreed to contact the property owners to get the easements signed. Ed Anderson, representing Hawkins Harrison Insurance, met with the board. He reviewed several options for the employee health insurance, which is due for renewal on May 1st. Motion was made by Rick Winter and seconded by Ron Leckby to renew the plan offered that is comparable to the current plan. Motion carried unanimously. Ty Parrish, utility supervisor, met with the board. He reported a routine month which included more ditching, patching potholes, and working on the oil distributor. The order of tubes came in, so they will be replacing tubes as time permits. Spring cleanup was scheduled for April 26th and 27th, with large dumpsters being available at Miller Friendship Park. Ty informed the board that the dumpster for out-of-town customers that has been located at the former city barn will be moved to their newer location at 404A East Reed Street, which will make it easier to monitor. He also requested a surveillance camera be installed at this same location. Motion was made by Ron Stansberry and seconded by Ronnie Leckby to have a surveillance camera that would not exceed $250 installed near the city barn. Motion carried unanimously. Mike Wright, wastewater superintendent, met with the board. He reported a fairly routine month with the average daily flow being 211,000 gallons. Kelly Hayes, chief of police, met with the board. He addressed the pit bull issue once again, confirming that the city has an animal control ordinance in place and it is his place to enforce the ordinances. Chief Hayes said he will be doing his spring inspection and sending out letters to those that have unlicensed vehicles and other junk in their yards. And there was no unfinished business. And under new business, Mayor Strickler read correspondence from Betty Couch, the Knox County Relay for Life co-chairman. The annual Relay for Life will be Friday, June 11th. The committee requested permission to hold the event in the downtown area and to have the streets closed. Motion was made by Ronnie Leckby and seconded by Delmer Strange to approve the request made by the Relay for Life Committee and for the employees to assist as they have in prior years. Motion carried unanimously. The The board considered an application for a building permit submitted by Delmer and Sonia Strange to build a garage 24 by 28 feet at 503 North Cotty Street. Motion was made by Rick Winter and seconded by Ron Stansberry to approve a building permit for a garage at 503 North Cotty Street. Motion carried. The ayes were Ron Stansberry, Rick Winter, Dot Cricksizer, Ronnie Lechby. Nays, none. Abstention, Delmer Strange. Absent, Renee Edwards. Mayor Strickler reported that the city advertised for bids for mowing and haying the lake property, but did not receive any bids. Under new business, Alderman Ronnie Lechby said he recently heard that Shelbina hires part-time help during the summer months to assist with some of the mowing, weed eating, and other maintenance. He suggested this might be an option for Edina to provide a summer job for someone, possibly a high school student, and at the same time provide extra help during the summer months. No action was taken at this time. Motion was made by Rick Winter and seconded by Ron Stansberry to close a portion of the meeting pursuant to 610.0213, hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting of particular employees by a public governmental body when personal information about the employees discussed or recorded. Roll call vote was taken. Ayes were Ron Stansberry, Rick Winter, Dot Cricksizer, Delmer Strange, Ronnie Lechby. Nays, none. Absent, Renee Edwards. Motion carried and the meeting was closed. When the board returned to open session, a motion was made by Rick Winter and seconded by Dot Cricksizer to adjourn. Motion carried and the meeting was adjourned.
Well, that's the way I remembered. Are there any additions or corrections? If there are none, we'll consider these minutes approved by consensus. Yes, it was. How about a collector's report?
Hello. Collections for March. Water revenue, $20,804.98. Sewer total, $24,132.36. Sanitation total, $15,684.62. General fund total, $9,784.72. Recreation total, $257.60. Street total, $718.50. Special lights total, $612.36. Meter deposit total, $1,240. Reserve and improvement fund total, 0, with a grand total collected $73,235.14.
Very good.
In April, we always do the total collections, delinquent tax lists, and bad debt. I have one for each of you, but just make sure it stays here and goes back to Margaret or I before you leave. I'm just taking and passing them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. When you open that, the first page is going to have the delinquent taxes. I kind of have an approximate total of what we have collected, but we've collected so much in the last couple of months that I don't have an exact. It looks like for the real estate we're setting at about 96%, and for the personal property we're setting at about 97% collected.
That's good.
On the second page that you have in there, that's our bad debt update. If you have questions about any of them, if you'd please refer to them by the number. I'll kind of go through like we usually do and let you know what we're looking at. The first 3 we were going to propose for write-off, just because of the amount that they are. It's going to cost at least twice that even to file to go to small claims. Number 4, I'd like for you guys to let me know if you would like to write that one off or go to small claims. I have sent that one several reminders. They no longer live in the state. So part of that may be it's up to you guys. If you wanna do the small claims, I'll be more than happy to do that. But I don't know how soon we'll get it collected, or how much it's gonna cost. I've not done one that's out of state. Number 5 was our only shut off this month, and so it's one that we're actively pursuing. Number 6 is making monthly payments. They don't actually have a payment agreement yet, but they always make a monthly payment. And number 7 is scheduled to be paid in full this Friday. Now the rest of those down there were the ones that were either being actively pursued or on payment plans last year, and we've actually collected them. If you look down to the third one from the bottom, and you see I got a note out to the side, just so you kind of have an idea, that's out of all of them that we've taken to small claims, and you can see when the judgment date was. That's the only one that's been paid in full, and it was just, I finally got it all collected in the last month.
Wow.
But that's why I want you guys to decide on number 4, which route we take.
In my opinion, I think you need to see what it's gonna cost to do it out of state.
Okay, yeah, because I don't know what they'll charge me to serve papers or anything, so I'll check into it and let you guys know.
Well, I do think you need to an attempt at it at least.
Well, I've been
Yeah.
sending certified letters and
Well,
stuff.
I mean,
so-
how much it would cost.
Right, so
When
I'll
you
see
say-
how much it'll cost. I just don't know how much, if it'll be higher or how much it's gonna
They
cost
both
to
do
do it.
work.
Mhm.
They are both working.
I done that one time to a person, and I won the case, but I haven't.
That's what I mean,
I
we've
haven't
won,
got the money, and that's been.
yeah, every one of them that we
So you've
have
got the
done, we have
expense.
won, but there's only been,
$70.
I might have collected on another one. I'd have to go back and look like the first year I was here, but it's just hard to collect on them. But I do follow, I mean, I keep trying no matter
But
how
then
long
if they
it
move
takes.
back, they have to pay it up front.
That's the way it
Whether
works.
it's
If I
what?
don't, even if I don't get a judgment on them, I still, that we have a list, and if they ever wanna come back and sign up for water, they have to pay that along with their deposit before they get turned on.
And that's whether it's written off or not.
That's whether it's written off. It doesn't matter if it's written off, if there's a judgment or there isn't.
And that's why that'd be my recommendation, just write this off. She's got plenty to do without spending hundreds of dollars, or even $100 to collect 200, and then,
I would almost guess, just guessing, that it's gonna cost us about that much, about what they owe
Oh,
to even do the process, but I'll call and find out.
I think we should just write it off and
Might
just
be
go
better.
on down the road.
That's not guaranteed you're gonna collect it.
Exactly.
Even if you win.
Exactly.
Right.
You just,
I thought, sure, I'd have the money today,
Yeah.
walked out.
no.
And there's been several that we have written off that, well, some of these that are on the bottom here that we have written off that we have collected this year as they came in to sign up for water again.
The chair would entertain a motion, and it's my recommendation to just write off the first one.
Right, it off.
the first four?
And that was your,
Yes,
is there any other action we need to take on this?
no, that's the only thing I need.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. Thank you, Mr. Strange. Any further discussion? If there's no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. All those opposed to the motion, raise your hand. All those abstaining, raise your hand. Madam Clerk, I count 6 ayes, no nays, no abstentions.
No.
So let the 4 be written off.
I'm gonna go grab those.
Anything else? Any questions for our collector? Thank you very much,
You're
ma'am.
welcome.
Is there a treasurer in the house?
Yes. Melissa does a great job. Appreciate what she does. She's busy here.
Yes.
Yeah. I really don't have anything special for you tonight unless you've got questions or everything's looking good at this point.
You've done an excellent job for us.
Fingers
Thank
crossed.
you very, very much for your service to the city.
Well, I was gonna say the same thing to you, and you really, there are many things I have appreciated about you. And I'll just name one, but that is that you see the big picture. And from the very beginning, you've looked at, let's don't let all the equipment go bad at once, let's have a plan in place. You know, where do we wanna be in 5 years and 10 years and on down the line? And I think it's made a significant difference with the way things have run, and I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Any questions for Peggy?
How long have you been the treasurer, Peggy? How long have you been the treasurer?
A long time.
A long time.
I
Oh
do
my
not,
gosh.
I do not remember, I'm not sure I can answer that.
I'd have to look that up.
Probably time to retire?
No.
Has Davey always been mayor?
Let's see, you've been,
24 for
24 years.
me, and I can't remember how long Rex
yeah, I'm not sure.
been gone a long time.
It's been a long time. I'd have to look it
I'll
up.
have to research that.
Okay.
Rex wasn't here when I came. Rex wasn't, I don't believe was
He wasn't here when I
he? He
came.
might have been just a short while when I was here. I bet she's been here 18 months,
Sounds about right.
because I've been here 18, so probably maybe 16 or 17. Yeah, so I do remember Rex, a short while.
All right.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday.
Paying of the monthly bills. You guys had a chance to look over the bills? How say you, should we?
Well, I'm good with it, except that one diesel bill was high. I thought, what was that all about?
I wouldn't check what? The diesel bill? Higher than normal, is it? Are you talking about a fuel bill?
Yeah. I must have filled a barrel or something. Is that what we did?
They fill us on a monthly basis.
We do. Always fill a barrel. I mean,
Shouldn't be too out of line, I wouldn't think.
what,
790 or something.
yeah, one month we buy from co-op, and the next month we buy from,
Yeah,
Hey,
keep it kinda
yeah,
equal.
so each month, one of them.
Well, that doesn't sound too far out of line to me, but. Well, the chair would entertain a motion to,
Uh-oh,
pay the bills.
there's the real boss.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second to that motion? Thank you, Mr. Stansberry. Is there any further discussion? If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. All those abstaining, same sign. Madam Clerk, I counted 6 ayes, no nays, and no abstentions. Brings us to item number 9, Mr. Mark Ross with Klingner and Associates.
Try to be brief, but we have quite a few things to cover, so. Can I give you an update on where we're at? The lining crew made short order of getting back into town to do the prep and get a lining crew in here and start lining sewers after we contacted them just prior to the last meeting about where they were on the contract. They got about 3,600 feet in, first week and a half, 2 weeks of that, and they're still in town, and I've seen the trucks in town today. I saw them a while ago, so they're rolling through that. I think they'll probably be done with lining somewhere in the middle of next month. So they get quite a bit done every day.
So are they gonna start paying us back?
We have that discussion at some point. Let's
Well, I
find out
wasn't
where
here.
we'll find out where they're at, because that's something that you guys can decide at some point. The clock is still ticking, so I don't have a recommendation one way or the other. That's your choice. my intention was to light a fire under them and get them in town and get them working, and that worked.
Okay.
And then you guys can, how you wanna handle that contractually at the end is certainly up to you guys, so. The dig contractor, I just drove through the entire job this afternoon, looking at his work and cleanup work. I think I found 2 items that they've gotta come back and address. I'd like to get with Ty and make sure he's comfortable with things, but it looks like they've done a pretty good job on their cleanup. And I asked Margaret and Melissa if they've had any calls or complaints, and they said they haven't really had anybody complain on anything, so. I think they've done a pretty good job of getting their work cleaned up. Couple of notes I will send to them and have them address. One's a high manhole over on 6th Street north of Smallwood, and another one looks like a settlement in a ditch and maybe a piece of sidewalk they didn't put back over on Fulton, so. Other than that, looks pretty good.
Excellent.
Keokuk Contractors is, I think they're pretty much done down there. They've got a couple of punch list items they're finishing up, which I think they're waiting on part for, and then we had a base on the lift station that they're gonna have to replace that out on the school lift station, so we're waiting on a part for that too, so really I think everything's going fairly smooth right now. The manhole guys are still in town. They're going to be gone this week and then come back next week and finishing their work. They'll spend a week and then we'll do a review of their work, send them a punch list of things they need to correct, so then they correct those and finish the work. They've been through everything now once, and they've corrected 2 rounds of their work, and they've got 2 rounds that we've got to inspect, which we will early, or probably in the next day or 2, and then send that back to them, and then when they come back next week, they'll take care of that, so. They've been working pretty hard at it too, so. Any questions on where we're at?
Did you notice on Jackson Street, about a half a block to the east of Highway 15, that seemed like their job they did on that manhole concrete work is got
Okay.
a low spot in it.
I was looking at the dig contract, I think that's the
okay.
manhole contractor. I think we've got a few manhole issues
This is
still on
kinda
that.
how it's setting in the
Yeah.
road, yeah.
I think there's one I think if I remember right, I think I know which one you're talking about. It's a little low, it's kind of an odd shape.
Fishbowl type
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah, which is not what we want, so. Like I said, there's still some outstanding issues on their punch list, but they haven't been paid for everything yet anyway, so. Since they're out of Kansas, we try to review things as they do them, so that when they're here, they take care of the issues while they're here too, so. Anything else on any of that? Okay. We've got several pay requests. The first one would be Keokuk Contractors Pay Request number 6 for $7,794. Addressed this evening.
The chair would entertain a motion to pay Keokuk.
I'll make the motion to pay Keokuk Contractors.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. Thank you, Mr. Leckby. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. All those abstaining, same sign.
Roll the ball.
Madam Clerk, 6 ayes, no nays, no abstentions. Anybody else?
Yes.
Yes.
Utility Solutions, they're the manhole people. They've submitted pay request number 4 for $78,204.30.
Sure.
Is that a motion
Yeah.
to pay Utility Solutions? Well, thank you, Ms. Cricksider. Is there a second to that? Thank you, Mr. Stansberry. Any discussion? If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. All those abstaining, same sign. Madam Clerk, 6 ayes, no nays, no abstentions. Who else?
Municipal Pipe Tool Company, the lining guys submitted pay request number 1 for $80,785.85.
Well, the chair would entertain a motion to pay them. Thank you, Mr. Strange. Is there a second?
No, this is the lining one, right?
Says paying them on the work they've done doesn't impact their liquidated damages thing. They've got $1.5 million in their contract, so.
Yeah,
we
this
keep
is pay
10
request number 1,
Yeah,
so
and
we're a
we
long way.
keep 10% all the way through, so.
And we keep
Okay, so
10%,
pay
there's
request
10% retained.
Yeah, and it would take probably till August to get to that retainage amount, so, just so you know.
I'll second that motion then.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. Any further discussion? There being no further discussion, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed? Is that a yay? That's a nay? All those opposed, raise your hand. All those abstaining, raise your hand. Madam Clerk, I count 5 ayes, 1 nay,
With the price.
and Mr. Lecter, yes. And no abstentions.
Okay, we have Klingner bill for $9,040, and the bulk of that is doing as-built on your dig work, which we've got all of that information done. We need to submit that to the city, but it's all completed, on the dig work. The lining people, I'll just remind you, we will get a post-inspection video on that and give that to you, so there's not really any as-built work on that. And the manholes, we've already updated that stuff too as we've gone along, so.
Good.
So we're not 100% done with the as-bills, but we're about 80–90% done, which is what that bill reflects.
Okay.
So explain that. What's that, it's over my head.
As-built, so that is, basically, we take the information that we document during the construction observation and put it on the plans, and then we will produce the set of plans as that reflects what's been constructed, so that you have it for your permit records. Which
It's
maybe
priceless.
is helpful because you haven't,
I deal with those on the railroad.
you've got missing information in some of your records on things. Imagine that.
How could it happen?
Then you get a final document after
Yeah.
it's all done, and it's all
Yeah.
cleaned up. Oh.
Is that a motion to pay?
Flowers.
Thank you very much. Is there a second?
Well, second.
Thank you, Ms. Kritzhausen. Is there any further discussion? If there's no further discussion, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed to the motion, raise your hand. All those abstaining from voting on the motion, raise your hand. Madam Clerk, I count 6 ayes, no nays, no abstentions. So there's a grand total that we need to request.
Yeah, the estimate of funds for reimbursement is $175,824.15.
So we need a motion to request that amount from USDA. Thank you, Mr. Winter. Ms. Edwards, thank you very much. As a second, is there any discussion on that motion? There being none, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. All those abstaining, raise your hand. Madam Clerk, 6 ayes, no nays, no abstentions.
Okay.
What's next, Mr. Bross?
Okay, just a budget status, we had $141,000 in contingencies to begin the job. And we've used, I think, about $10,000 of that on the construction end.
Okay.
And so, I've got a few change orders which are cleaning up some contract amounts, really is what a lot of this is, because we're winding down with some construction. The first one is Willis Brothers change order number 1, and what that is a deduct. See, that can't be positive. $226,837. And what that is basically a reflection of the quantities as constructed. We did delete part of the work over on Clay Street. Rather than replace the main, we actually felt like we were okay with the main, and we put in a couple of manholes to shorten some of the runs up. You had a long run that was, gosh, I think almost 900,000 feet long with no manholes in it. And so we added manholes in there, which we were gonna do anyway, but we didn't replace the main. We didn't feel like the main needed to be, it was PVC, so. So that was the bulk of it. And then we always go a little farther on quantities when we bid a job than what you actually put in. We just put a little extra in when we put in our quantities. So basically, this is to settle up the bill to date on where we're at.
Do we take these one at a time, or do we?
Yeah, we'll do
wait
these
till
one
they're-
at a time, and so,
Okay.
so we've got this one, which is a deduct of $226,837, so that will come off of their contract.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, I recommend somebody make a motion to approve change order number 1 for Willis.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I will second that.
Thank you, Ms. Edwards. Mr. Stansberry made the motion. Any further discussion? Since there's no further discussion, all those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. All those abstaining, raise your hands.
okay.
Madam Clerk, 6 ayes, no nays on that one.
Okay, we have two for utility solutions. The first one, change order number 1, is a time extension request. And the reason I'm willing to grant this is they waited for about 3 months for the lining contractor to show up. We'd like to do lining before we do manhole work. Because when we come back in and line the manholes, then the lining's already there. We can seal up around the lining as it comes into the manhole. And so they asked for an extension of 91 days, and my recommendation is to grant them that, because it's not their fault that they couldn't get started on time because the other contractor was late. So, that's what change order number 1 is.
Okay.
What was their
I don't see
due
a problem
date?
with it.
Their due date was March the 18th, like everyone else's.
They were gone 3 months, Mark,
No,
from not working?
Utility Solutions was, they were waiting on, they delayed 3 months to start their work, because we had been given multiple dates from the lining people. They were gonna be here in December, then they were gonna be here in January, then they were gonna be here in March, and so the manhole people were trying to wait till they got here, and then they were gonna follow them through town. And they didn't show up, and so they ran short on their time, because the other one wouldn't get here, so.
That's a lot of dollars.
Well, it's not dollars, it's 91
days.
days. Yeah.
$500 a day though?
Yeah, but it's not their fault. I mean, I can't charge them liquidated damages if they're waiting on the other one that's causing the problem, so. That's my opinion.
I would agree. Well, is there a motion to adopt change order number 1 for Utility Solutions?
What's this 91 days gonna cost us?
It's not gonna cost you anything.
It's already
It's just a
set.
time
It's already
extension.
set, but they're supposed to have had it done.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
couldn't
but they
start,
couldn't
start,
start.
yeah.
Mr. Strange made a motion. to
It's a
approve.
no-cost change order.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Stansberry.
It's inevitable.
No cost to us. I like that. All those in favor, is there any further discussion?
But I like them paying me back.
That one would be a difficult
That's a
one
lot,
to-
right, yeah, it's
to
big.
to
Yeah.
win that argument.
Yeah.
If there's
Okay.
no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. All those abstaining, same sign. Madam Clerk, 6 ayes, no abstentions. Change order number 1 is approved. Change order number 2.
Okay, Utility Solutions also has change order number 2, and what this includes is, we got into looking at some of these manholes as we were replacing through these things, and there was a number of them that we found in town that were not in the project that had holes in the lids. And holes in the lids, if they're sitting in the street, particularly in a low spot, is an infiltration point. And so, we had them pull together a list of what, you know, what lids would have holes in them, and we concurred with that list, and we wanted to put a price together for swapping those lids out. The other thing is since we had some of the preliminary work done in 2012, 2013, a few of these manholes have some bricks and things in them that were starting to fall out of place. And I think we ran into 7 or 8 of them that had bricks that either fell out onto the bottom of the manhole or were starting to fall out. And you can't really line over those. You have to pull those out and then grout in and then do your lining process over it. And so we had several of those to address as well. We also found a few cracked frames as we were going through things. We were going to reuse the frame, but we've even had a couple of instances where a frame they already installed then got cracked again, mainly out in the highway. And so we've had a few of those that we wanted to take. And of course, when you've got a cracked frame, you've got a crack that you can let infiltration in that way. So trying to button those things up and seal those things up. And so there's a list of those items attached to the change order, but the total amount is $38,340.30. And so, you know, our recommendation is to approve that, because that's the goal here is infiltration. Obviously, budget is not a concern at this point, particularly with a large deduct. We want to make sure we focus on the I&I while we utilize the money we have. So that's my recommendation to you.
Well, it sounds very reasonable to me.
Shouldn't you have seen those holes in the manholes when they started the project?
Uh,
Or were they there, I guess?
I think in some cases they were. I don't really know why some of them had holes and some didn't, other than I think some communities have holes in them to allow the sewer gas to escape if they think they've got a hydrogen sulfide problem, but I haven't seen much evidence of that in town. Some of these are really old lids, some of them cracked, and they weren't cracked before too. As far as whether you see if you had holes in them or not, I mean, when we did this, we had a contractor come in who worked under us to do a manhole inspection. I think that one of the things we saw was that we obviously didn't see all of those. So as we saw them, we wanted to make sure we got them. And you have like 300 and some manholes in town. And I think there was 22 of them that had lids with holes in them. So that's a lot of manholes.
They're expensive.
Well, the lid itself is about $300, just for material.
That with the frame ring, or
No.
That's
Like I
just
said,
the
there are others that have some frame.
does the highway get a more
Yes, it gets a different.
heavier lid?
Yes.
Now, what was the deal with the one on the highway? It's a new one that was put in, right? That's got a crack in it?
Yeah, we aren't paying again for that. We gotta
Okay.
replace that.
Well, the chair would entertain a motion to pay, or to approve change order number 2 for Utility Solutions.
Make that motion.
Thank you very much, Ms. Edwards. Thank you, Mr. Stansberry. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. All those opposed, raise your hand. All those abstaining, raise your hand. Madam Clerk. 6 ayes, no nays, and no abstentions.
Next one is Keokuk Contractors Change Order number 3, and that is to, we have a float in there that operates the screen. The screen, well, the way that works is you have the floatables that come in through the wastewater, they're screened, and so as they come through, water passes through, the screenings get on the screen, and then it blinds the screen, and then the water level raises. Well, there's a float that will at that point in time cause the screen to rotate, collect the screenings, pull them up into the screen, compact them, and then eventually it'll spit it out into a dumpster. Well, what we found was is where the float was is kind of over in a corner of that trench, and we were getting some debris around that float that was causing it to want to trip and run the screen more often than it should be. And I think Melissa can attest that what it amounts to is then we run water down through there to clean the screen, and it was excessive cycling on that. So what we propose to do is put basically an open bottom, open top guard around that thing to keep the debris out of it. It's just a simple stainless steel plate. And then the other thing down there, when we took, I think last month, we voted to take the old screen down and then put a bypass screen in over on the other channel. Well, when we took the old screen out, it left a open trench down there with no grading over the top, about 6 feet long. And don't really want your guys down there with potential to fall in on that. And so we asked for a price on grading to put over that area. So that total was $1,500. And our recommendation is to approve that work because
To me, that's a
basically
safety
and
issue,
operation
it's
issues.
pretty cheap.
Yeah. So, really
You
reasonable
think this,
price.
buffet thing will work?
Yeah, I think it already has.
Oh, it's there, it's already in?
Yeah, we had to have him put it in because it was causing his screen to run all the time. So.
It's just like having your toilet run all the time, you gotta do something. So what's the amount?
$1,500.
$1,500. The chair would entertain a motion. Thank you, Mr. Strange.
I'll second.
And thank you, Mr. Stansberry, for that second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. All those opposed to the motion, raise your hand. All those not voting, abstaining, raise your hand. Madam Clerk, there's 6 ayes, no nays, no abstentions.
Okay.
Okay.
Fulton Avenue, as mentioned in the minutes of the last meeting, we checked the grade. We can get the grade to work by running a service from the house that's over on Baker Street down to Clay Street. And then we can run the house that's on Fulton out to Fulton, and then we don't have to go in between the houses and do anything with the old line. Other than fill it with gravel, fill the manholes with gravel from a safety standpoint. That's what we need to do. Your water line would not have to move. It runs through the manholes and can stay where it is. What would need to happen is the guy that has the service on Baker Street would have to get an easement from his neighbor to go down to cross the backyard of him over by the dog gun and the propane tank. We set a manhole on Clay Street, and he can come in and tie in to that sewer main that's on Clay Street. So it's really 2 services. The one up there that's on Fulton Avenue, I forget the guy's name, the brick house with the kind of half circle drive. He's got a lot of utilities right in there, and so we've got to be careful, and he's got some landscaping around there, so we have to be careful digging around that stuff. But we would not need the city would not need an easement at all for any of that under this scenario. And so, I wrote it down on my sheet, normally I wrote it down. You see that? Get the number for me real quick. Yeah. I got a little cheat sheet, and I forgot to write that one down. Here it is. Okay. They sent me a cost of $19,156 to do that. There's about 200 feet of line to put in from the house on Baker. There's a manhole to put in the street, and then there's about 60, 70 feet of service line from the guy that has the half circle drive. And then there's filling in the manholes that are on the old line in between the houses. So.
And who's got this, bid in?
This is Willis Brothers.
Willis?
Yeah, they're our dig contractor. So, it's up to you guys on what you wanna do, but that would take care of the problem.
Well, that's our main objective here, is to take care of the property.
I've got kind of a little
I
sketch.
think we should,
What was the price?
$19,156. What's that?
So it keeps peace with everybody over there reading.
Well, I think it keeps your guy that
Yeah,
to the south,
that's what I'm
it
saying.
doesn't affect him at all, which is good, because he was the one that was gonna have a problem with it. So,
Can our guys dig that, part of that in, and if so, save us how much money? Or is that
you
even
have to ask,
feasible?
that's a question for Ty, depends on what he's got on time and whether he's got the equipment to lay sewer on grade.
Is that a
well,
four-hour
Ron, we're well under budget here, and I think are we spending grant dollars at this point that we're gonna have to?
Give back.
We will, you will spend grant dollars before it's over, and you would be giving them back, yes,
Yeah,
if
so,
you didn't spend them, so. And we just, as a net here, we just knocked off $177,000 tonight.
I think we should just give Willis
It's up to
the
you,
go-ahead
whatever you wanna do.
and go for it, but that would be my recommendation.
How many foot of line is that?
All set about 260 feet, yeah, something in that neighborhood.
How big is the
See, you know,
manhole in the
if we
street?
had Ty do it.
Manholes, about 8 feet, I believe.
They can't, the city boys can't set an 8-foot manhole with the city's backhoe. It's not heavy enough.
So let's just have Willis. do
Probably
it.
don't,
That's-
do you have shoring? You don't have trench boxes
Not
either,
for
do
a
you?
manhole box, no.
I just assume it'd be done, get it done.
I agree. Well, if somebody would like to make that
I will
motion,
make
let's
that
get it
motion.
done. Thank you, Ms. Edwards. Thank you, Mr. Strange. You okay, Ron?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
I just thought we'd save a little money on that deal. They can set the manhole, we'll dig the pipe in. But I don't know how much that would save us, so.
The manhole's about $3,800.
Well, since we're spending, we'll be wind up spending grant dollars, it'll wind up costing us because we'll have to pay,
Our guys.
our guys, yeah, when they could be doing something else.
Well, like Mike said, they don't really aren't able to do any manhole.
Well, yeah, I just see play it safe, not try to do
Intended
something that
for
we're not.
the manhole to be set by the contractor. I'm
Yeah,
talking about digging the
right,
pipe in.
its sewer line depth would be on the order of, it's about 4 foot deep up by the house, it's clean out, in the back of the house. And it would end up about, almost 6-7 foot deep at the manhole, so.
Which they would need,
They need a trench box for anything over 4, so they'd have to rent that equipment.
Any further discussion?
not on my behalf.
Okay. We have a motion made and seconded on the floor to approve the motion. All those in favor, raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. All those abstaining, same sign. Madam Clerk, 6 ayes, no nays. Let the progress continue.
Okay, the last thing on my list is Purcell Street. Just an update on where we're at with easements, and I think Mike will have to.
I stopped and talked with Alan and Jim, and the wording in the easement says that we will allow them to hook up to the city sewer, and they would like for that to be changed, that the contractor will hook them up to the city sewer when they go by, for them to sign the easement. And they'd like that letter form, and they'd like it to have a date on the water in writing that it will be, the water service will be changed, rerouted by, I think there was a date before July something.
You said July 1st is what you're giving.
But they would like to have that
In writing.
in writing, from the city council before they'll sign the easement, so.
This is
I
the
s-
farm
And I
shop
think
easement.
that's what
And
Alan,
that's what we had talked about before. It's not gonna be, I went down, looked at it. You're hooking, as you go by, you're hooking Ron and Lil up. Anyway, you're hooking Kelly Hayes up as you go by there too. Kelly Hayes is gonna have about 10 foot of pipe to put in. I think the farm shop's gonna have maybe 25 or 28. I just stepped it off. I didn't pull a tape measure to actually hook theirs up from where they told me their sewer come out. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I mean, it just kinda, so I don't think it's out of line myself, but I can't make that decision, and I told him that I would come talk to you, and hopefully next time I'd come back with a letter and the easements for them to sign all together after I spoke with you guys.
We're talking about fixing that water line anyway, right?
Yes.
You already previously.
Yeah, I mean, that part is worded correctly as far as the city is gonna fix that by July 1st. The part that they had a problem with was we were going to allow them to hook up to the city sewer, and they want that to be changed that we are going to hook them up to the city sewer.
So with the understanding, they will be responsible for their own.
They are responsible, once it's hooked up, they're responsible for their service just like anybody else in the city.
Okay.
Yeah, from the main.
And we can state that in the letter too, that we can put it in, but once it's hooked up, they are responsible just like any other customer for their.
You had voted before, but we never sent a letter. They want the letter. stated.
Well,
I sent the letter,
And it's-
exactly what the board said.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the letter needs to be changed.
Wasn't exactly enough.
This is
and it's even stated,
Okay.
stated in the
Fine.
easement, the actual easement, the agreement in the easement is stated that we will allow them to hook up to city sewer, which I don't think will matter if you have a letter.
I shouldn't, I mean, that's city attorney.
So if they have it in writing, they're not requesting a actual modification of the easement I prepared?
No, they just want a letter stating that that's what we're gonna do from the city council.
Make it happen.
is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Stansberry. Is there a second to that motion? Thank you, Ms. Christopher.
This is what we will hook up with.
I'll be glad when that part of that thing's done.
Any further discussion? While you guys were having your sidebar, we've had a motion made and seconded.
Yeah.
No further discussion. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. All those opposed, same sign. All those abstaining, same sign. That is clerk, 6 ayes, no nays, no abstentions.
With that, I'll try and make the rounds this week and get that buttoned up so he can start with the bidding process as soon as possible.
Okay. Any other questions on the project?
You've done quite well, Mr. Gross.
I just wanna say, I have the pleasure of working with you for the last 20 years.
It's gone by fast, hasn't it?
Yeah, city's made a lot of improvements over the years, and I know you had a big hand in that, water tower, water connection to Clarence Cannon, sewer projects, a few water main improvements in town, and you all have always tried to keep your infrastructure up, and enjoyed working with you, enjoyed working with you the short time you've been on here, but, wish you well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gross. You've made a lot of things a lot less painful than they would have been otherwise.
I hope that's the case.
No, I think
We're gonna hold you to it.
I think we've done well together in the city council, and I think we have worked very well together. So thank you very much, very, very much.
Careful going back.
Yeah, I'll wait. I'm gonna hang around for a while. I got paperwork to get in.
We'll get to kick Davey in the butt, right?
Yeah, well, I guess I couldn't count. I skipped item number 8. I
Yeah.
guess in my haste to get to punching cookies. So number 8 was citizens' comments. Yes, you there in the cheap seats.
The Knox County Local Emergency Planning Committee is going to meet on Wednesday at 6 at the Blue Room. We will buy you dinner if you want to come hang out with us for an hour and talk emergency preparedness in Knox County with us. We would love that.
This is the Knox County.
LEPC, Local Emergency Planning Committee.
Okay.
Davey, you've got some time on your hands. You're
Well,
more than welcome to.
Wednesday night, I promised the new mayor that I would go with him to Clarence County Wholesale
Ooh.
Water Commission to help him get
That's a
adjusted
great idea.
to that board.
What was
But
that date?
thank you for bringing that up.
Next Wednesday?
This
And under
Wednesday,
citizens'
2 days
comments-
from now.
2 days
This
from
Wednesday.
now, at 6 at the Blue Room.
Under citizens' comments, I'd like to comment about what a wonderful job the Chamber of Commerce did on the trivia tournament Saturday night. Biggest and best trivia tournament they've
It
ever
was huge
had.
turnout, yeah. It was a little stressful. We were not expecting that many people. It was great, it was great. It was a good fundraiser for us.
It was
Thank
fun.
you.
I felt very humbled after some of those questions. Any other citizens' comments? Well, if you think of it, bring it up later. I'm sure the new mayor, he'll love to talk to any citizens who are interested. That brings us back to item 10, unfinished business. Did you have some unfinished business? No?
Except you at some point have to sign all of these
Okay.
documents.
Well, if there's no unfinished business, the next item is number 11, which is certification of the April 5th, 2016 municipal election. We have here an official letter from the Knox County Clerk's Office, Marlene Spory, County Clerk, Stephanie Benedict, Deputy County Clerk, to the City of Edina. This is to certify that the enclosed is a true, correct, and complete abstract of all the votes cast as shown by the returns made to my office by the judges of the 2016 municipal election, and as verified by the verification board as provided in section 115.507 RSMO, which states that the election authorities shall certify the election results to each political subdivision not later than the second Tuesday after the election. Section 115.508 states, no election authority shall certify election results before noon on the Friday after the election day. So anyway, it was just in time. Let's see, for the mayor, John W. Bodie, 124 regular votes, 14 absentee votes, for a total of 138 votes. Eric Hunault, 166 regular votes, 17 absentee votes, for a total of 183 votes. So congratulations, Mr. Hunault. First Ward Alderman, 2-year term, Renee Edwards, 66 regular votes, 4 absentee votes, for a total of 70 votes. David Bew, 61 regular votes, 5 absentee votes, for a total of 66 votes. Congratulations, Ms. Edwards. Second Ward Alderman, 2-year term, Ron Stansberry, unopposed, 49 regular votes, 5 absentee votes, for a total of 54 votes. Third Ward Alderman, 2-year term, Ronnie Letby, 43 votes, regular votes, 7 absentee votes, for a total of 50 votes. Ryan Mason, 71 regular votes, 9 absentee votes, for a total of 80 votes. Congratulations, Mr. Mason. In testimony thereof, I hereunto set my hand and affix the seal of the county commission at my office in Edina, Missouri, this 9th day of April 2016. Sincerely, Marlene Spory, Knox County Clerk. So with that, I hereby call a recess so that the new people can be sworn in, and that's that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Davey.
It does seem like an abrupt ending. I thought about making a big speech, but then I remembered it's not about me, it's about the city, so why should I make it?
Well, I was gonna say it in citizens' comments, but I'll say it now. Over the last 20 years, I've attended a lot of meetings in a lot of towns and a lot of places around the state of Missouri. And Davey, everywhere I went and told people I was from Edina, they go, well, I know what, Edina's got the Grand Wazoo as the mayor, right? Let me tell you, there has never been a better ambassador for the city of Edina. And everywhere I went, people knew about us, and a town of 1,000 people, that's saying something. And people were very impressed. You were always professional, and you're a real gentleman for all the years that you were in as mayor. And I've seen and heard some really lousy stuff coming out of city councils and county meetings, and I just want to say I've really appreciated working with the city over these last 20 years and having you and your professional attitude towards the job. So, job well done.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bodie. Well, I guess everybody has some punch. We're gonna sign a couple papers here, or I guess you could start swearing people in if you.
Either way, what do we wanna do?
Why don't you swear some people in? Swear some people in.
Yeah, swear some people in.
Just grab it, but I swear.
Okay, let's see. First ward, we have Ron for the second ward.
Us three are just
Gang of
spectators.
In the back.
Eric, cheap seats on it.
All you volunteers.
So,
You got the blindfolds?
You want to, we're gonna do it by the flag.
you want by the flag?
That's what they usually do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
flag
stand
would
with
be
the flag
good.
in the back.
That's tradition. Sure. It is.
It's not a 24-year term,
Am I out
right?
of the photo?
No. I'm glad you asked that question.
No, I don't.
That's right.
Talk back here. I've been here 17 and a half. I think it's 22, 24.
You're too young to have been here 17 and a half.
Thanks, I agree.
Well, you've done an excellent, excellent job.
So, you got them?
I've been here for those
Can-
boys, I told you that. They've always appreciated that.
You've got to get good people and then stand behind them. Wait.
Okay.
Don't raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office that you have been elected, that you will support the Constitution of the United States and of the state of Missouri, the provisions of all laws of this state affecting cities of the fourth class, and the ordinances of the city of Edina, and will faithfully demean yourself while in office? So now we can take a recess, I guess.
Take a short pause for a good cause.
If you're watching this live stream, we're just gonna let it run until we pick back up shortly.
Super starting me.
Y'all they got the shed started yet? Shed done yet? Garage?
No.
When they're gonna start on that, didn't they get started on anything?
I think it'd be, he's got a roof put on, further out of Gray Bridge.
Who's building it?
KC Builder.
Oh.
Well, I've heard some bad things about them, but I think where the rental they did some work for me.
They worked on the Lacey's German place. They did good work there.
I know.
They'll put it up pretty quick. Two or 3 days.
That week after you got the cement run.
Yep, that won't be too bad.
So,
Mind you, not too much. Your man cave looks pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
A picture, she had
You go
pictures.
in?
No, she had pictures. Come in and visit sometime, do it. Yeah, we're getting close to it.
We got happy all about all that signage.
That's good. That's good.
Congratulations.
Oh, to a certain degree, yeah.
Rachel too? I guess you're just in time.
So then, is there any ones you want to stay on? You want out?
Oh, you did bring it. Oh, I would hate to look out of that anyway.
So, I guess I would say, are you saying we're going I don't want
Well, maybe for solid waste.
But I didn't know if you were just totally out.
The actual seat on the regional planning commission is to be.
I just didn't know if you would want to stay on any board. Just walk away from this.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I know you like.
I got some things that just gotta get
Clean out, we have to clean out the elderly. Oh, wait a minute, you're talking to your mom?
Grandma's. Still on that.
So Davey, whenever you get a chance, everybody's wanting to one of your neighbors. Can't start without.
Hello. Neighbor. Nice to finally meet you.
Thanks. Yeah, check
But we go somewhere about once a month.
You lying off work?
Come home, try to pay the MasterCard. And do the laundry. Hamster in a cage.
Speed limit popped in my head. You figured that right. He took the less off.
I could tell he.
Well, I'd say after tonight, you better have
Any recommendations we've got a welding
No.
Second best food in Europe, first best is Greece. Well,
And I just.
what I figured out is, If you get him out of the job. A lot of people. So you can't go anywhere.
No, I've not seen him back this far.
Yeah, because I didn't work.
Something you confiscated, right?
We saw
I can reset them. Just to use power. I happened to get home, I was on
I hear you insist.
reset on the controls. On the speed, I'm
Smile. Smile. Hey. Somebody else play with you. I'll play with I'm used to that.
I mean, I'm thinking that.
Even with the
I'm saying the nice thing.
you still have to manually turn them back on. Whether or not, even like you said, with it going back, I don't know
All right.
how. I know, we changed the road because it's $800.
I remember the old days.
It wouldn't be much different.
So that's why I was getting $600.
John and Juan.
That's my
I
eyes.
think we always made them reason on it. Well, have a cookie. Have a cookie. Have a cookie.
If you don't use it,
Sorry, I couldn't have voted for you 30 times.
official.
You did a fine job. Thanks for serving.
Is there a way,
Thanks for serving.
is there a way, I know not necessarily, what I'd like to see if we do.
That's right. I've got one for the last 8 years. I've done it
If there's money for it.
Even if it's just a fair.
I'd like to trench it out of the
Slap the ball around.
booster station and have it where we can, well, it doesn't have to be hooked up to where it'll come on.
Yeah, this is good. It's the power. It's going
But have it on a disconnect where, because the water tower's got to go.
Exactly.
So we know if the power's out for more than 8 hours, we're gonna have to start thinking about getting power to the booster station, because the water tower's probably.
So did you come up
What'd be
with
nice is to be able to go over there and go,
complaints or what?
generator back on, we had a big ice storm, we didn't have power here for 4 days. We turned the generator on, waste.
Oh, I was thinking.
And I think you could probably.
Maybe our neighbor was causing us trouble again.
So that's what I was getting at. Getting that there, what I hope you got one of fair weather station, have a see where we have to generate that, when any of that stuff.
So.
After about 12 hours,
I still think I remember how it started. As long as you might let me know the whole way.
it's not something.
Backside of the green.
Yeah, and you know, I have been doing this kind of like this. I lose the golf ball.
Yeah, the good fellow did that.
See, he gets the catfish.
On Facebook, it was similar.
And I 3-putt.
They,
And I took something like
'Maybe 3 years ago, with the since they didn't have much competition.
Of course, he's not one you'd have to sign.
Wanted to get the, more.
What would be nice,
And so
because
Will you close with me? Let me know.
I could
I
call
just
him on
dropped
the
it
phone.
off. I can't even hit a ball. I don't even remember how to come into the swing. And so I can't.
Oh,
So this weekend.
At least you know what I think that's out even without swinging them things out there.
And continue education.
One day, later on, I played with him and he lost my 6th ball.
You never know how it's going to
And so he had his battle. Not as he had very
I tried to get it knocked out.
See, I'm to the point where
Whatever you do.
I go see Bayfield every time I talk about that. And I got her sewing, and I tell you that I can't believe it. Like, oh, last time I was there, she's really good. She was at a level to the point where she's doing another customer in so went to see him once. It's just not quite the same because at first he didn't want anyone to come see him. But he told me, you know, he enjoyed it. So we'll go back. He lays there in the house.
I watched it Saturday.
I've been meeting with Kate. And you can eat with them. Don't you?
If you want to see him melt down, they were all getting in trouble, and they were all finding ways to get out of water. Making some good park.
I don't think I'm gonna get any more clothing done until we get back to our routine. Just can't get done. Oh, yeah. I went to go to Wednesday and I couldn't get
Been there those days.
that thing is discharging like it's.
If that's what you
Ryan, don't be nervous. You got nervous. Are you nervous? Be nervous.
Fluctuation and.
I told him you had left.
It has the spotlight.
But you'll do better than I will. I can get home and I see myself on the
Discharge side of the check.
16.
Echo Menges.
Okay, huh? Stay in there. Stay there, Dot.
Oh, me too?
Yeah, smile. Okay.
Rick, that was my idea. He bought him wine, didn't he?
So
We got Gabba Bubba or whatever.
That's a good idea. Rick's gonna give some line to the baby.
Okay.
And then somebody else.
Cause it's just stressed up.
Oh,
Not bad here.
Oh, they did. Oh, did you feel bad? Afraid that the baby wasn't. You know. Many said, Bill's gather them in? Once a year I have. I go through our actually, I'm born, he's a doctor that went out.
And then I sit in
Doctors are really good. Also, he has a program to into, have you ever heard of the you record it or
It's live right in front of it.
special testing, EKGs and stuff.
You'd have to have really, it would have to be like a couple of feet up.
But if you don't pay him clinic area, whatever it is, he doesn't waste space. And I have his number.
Try to remember to come Wednesday.
But since
At the blue room,
at the Blue Room,
6 o'clock, in the back room.
yeah.
he does because he's actually got,
Eric's like, I'm gonna take that camera.
And I do it like this. Even my back.
Well.
Have a seat.
Let me get my junk out of it. Eric's way.
Well, if they're coming back to do a few little. When they come back, we'll make sure they get that.
We need a commissioner.
Well, Wendell Kurtz made it, and I don't know whether he gave it to me as me or gave it to me as mayor to pass along to the next
Where
one.
he came from, but
Wendell Kurtz, he was an alderman at the
Sorry. I have to be.
Potentially.
oh, yeah.
That's what he did.
Yeah.
Look over here.
They may have a reason.
Thank you.
They may have.
Echo, did you
Well, I've been in Bishop for 3 years.
Leave me alone. You pick your dinner, we'll pay for it.
Plan on checking it out.
No, about an hour long. Emergency preparedness, emergency planning for Knox County, basically. Emergency planning.
I mean, I don't know where else you can get it. Unless you find somebody that has it. I don't even know.
I've been planning to get it out this past week to clean it and wax it, and I haven't accomplished it yet, but.
Well, I guess it's time, I'm not the boss, but it's time for the city people to get back to work.
So you leave it at the table of knowledge. Do I get a hug?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Hey,
Public services.
can I get a hold of you tomorrow and get some quotes from you?
Sure.
Okay.
Give me a chance to go. Well, thank you very much. Good luck to you.
Can I get an autograph?
Question. Want a check, maybe? Good luck, Brian.
See you, Mary.
I hope so.
Alrighty, well, let's call to order the April 11th meeting. New business.
Yes. Yes, if you would please do us the honor of reading out the proclamation. Davey, listen. Is Davey here?
Yeah, he's standing
Mayor Emeritus, is that your title?
I don't know.
Former mayor, I know they gave the Pope that title when he resigned.
Old gray mare.
It's my pleasure on behalf of the new mayor and the council to read a proposed proclamation. Whereas David W. Strickler Jr. has served 12 terms as the mayor of the city of Edina, commencing April 13, 1992, and serving continuously as mayor until April 11, 2016. And whereas David W. Strickler Jr. has diligently promoted the public interest and supported numerous works of public improvement during his tenure as mayor of the city of Edina, including the construction of the new water tower, water and sewer line expansion and improvement projects, improvements to City Hall, construction of a new fire station, improvement of other city facilities, including the Pauline S. Campbell Ball Field and Miller Friendship Park. And whereas in addition to his service as mayor of the city of Edina, David W. Strickler Jr. has provided a generation of dedicated public service in countless capacities, including service as a member of the Northeast Missouri Regional Planning Commission Board, the Missouri Municipal League, the Clarence County Wholesale Water Commission, the Knox County Community Development Corporation, as well as numerous other organizations benefiting this community and the public at large. And whereas as mayor, David W. Strickler Jr. has been a committed advocate for the employees of the city of Edina and has taken an active and personal interest in the daily concerns and quality of life of the citizens and residents of Edina, Missouri. And whereas it is appropriate for the community of Edina, Missouri to publicly express and acknowledge the deep appreciation and sincere gratitude of the community for the tireless dedication and selfless public service of David W. Strickler Jr. as set forth above. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the mayor and the board of aldermen that the city of Edina, Missouri and its citizens formally acknowledge, express, and declare the thanks and grateful appreciation of the community for the leadership, public service, dedication, and tireless devotion of David W. Strickler Jr. to the city of Edina, as approved by the Board of Aldermen and executed by the mayor this 11th day of April 2016. And may I say, just on a personal and private note, that I have greatly enjoyed working with you, Mayor, former Mayor Strickler, and that it has been my pleasure to provide assistance and legal counsel to the city under your tenure as mayor.
Thank you very much, Tom. You've done an excellent, excellent job as city attorney. Well, here, I thought you had to die to receive praise like that. I felt an out-of-body experience like I was at my own funeral.
Well, you told me about 6 months ago you were thinking about this, so I had some time to work on it.
Just don't expect anything at your funeral.
I've already shot that bullet is gone, huh? Well, if ever I did anything to look good, you know, it's all because of the good people of beautiful downtown Edina. Working with very good council members is always a plus. That helps quite a bit, Eric, keep that in mind. And the good employees, surround yourself with good employees and then let them do their jobs and just sit back and smile. So if I ever look good, it's because other people were doing their jobs and making me look good. Thank you very much. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Thank you, Davey.
So we have a motion on the floor, Renee to pass the proclamation, and Doc seconded. We'll leave the vote. All those in favor?
Boy.
So, yeah, now.
4-2.
Point of no return.
Yeah.
Would have been funny if it had been a tie vote.
Yeah. So do we get the rest of the cookies then?
Yes.
I guess we're ready for our department reports. Anybody wanna volunteer, or we wanna go in order?
You get 'em.
Unfortunately, I do have somewhat of an order of things, I guess. I guess first off,
Yeah.
I can get it.
Tie.
Oh, there it is, sorry. We did have Jason who did get his sewer license. So he is another, we do have another certified wastewater operator in town right now. So, another word to the board.
Thanks.
Yes.
And our customary procedure is if they receive certification, they receive a 50-cent increase in their pay. So it would be voted on by the board, and then it's retroactive to when that was in effect. Passed.
When they passed back in February.
So I make a motion to give Jason Barnhill his raise,
Okay.
50-cent hour raise.
I'll second
Dylan?
All in favor? 6 ayes. No nays.
Okay, nextly, we did get our security cameras in. We got them set at the barn. We did move the dumpster, of course, so it's only been there a week, but we had about half the trash in it of what we normally did. So I think it's beneficial.
Maybe people ain't got used to it.
Well, that could be, that's a possibility. But we can see anybody that does put trash in now. I mean, we've been kind of playing with the cameras. It is kind of nice to have. The only request I have to benefit that or help that is I'd like to put a pole light down there. Because our night vision, it's dark and you can't see anything of a night. So if somebody would come down of a night.
Do you have an existing pole or location you want to put in?
Yeah, I've talked to Ameren. If it's something they want to do, they've got a pole right there that sits over a dumpster. We can put a security light right there. Be something similar to like what's at the park. That'd have to be something you guys want to approve. I don't remember what the rate was. It was, I don't remember what the rate was for like the park lights. It was.
Yeah, those are a little more expensive than just a pole light.
I don't remember which one he changed than what I thought. Is
He didn't
20?
change it. We've still got the 250s down there.
Well, from what I had circled here, so I'm not sure. Is it 2276, Margaret?
That sounds about.
It's, I was thinking it was $20 some a month, yeah.
Is there any electrical that we can hook up a pole light ourselves?
It's on their pole, as long as it's on their pole, they've gotta, yeah. Yeah, if they put it up, it's their baby, they maintain it.
That works, I know we can probably buy some for $100 even flat money. You can get 3 or 4 years service out of it and save money that way. There's really not much. Just a regular, like an LED pole light that'll arm off of it.
But we couldn't put on their pole, could you?
Yes, you can.
Can you?
I don't
Put it on the pole as long as you have service to it off your own. And
And maybe I'd have to ask them, I don't know on that.
we can swing our own service over there.
Could you put it on the building anywhere?
You could, I suppose. I just kinda hate to, the more you drill holes inside of a building, you know, the more chance to take leaks, stuff like that. I mean, yeah, that's an option. I mean, it's not out of the question. So,
Instead of adding $22 a month to our bill, it'd just be
We can do a one-time deal.
But it'll only last how long?
5 years plus.
And then you get to replace it?
You can, or like a wall pack, a 75-watt wall pack, you can put on the wall, put it up 20 feet on the side, and it'll cascade enough light out that.
And how much is it?
You can get those for probably, a couple $100, and they'll last 10 years.
That sounds like even money to me. $20 a month or $100 every 5 years. Then we'd have to wire it.
That's true, I mean, but if you do not want it or wanna move it or anything like that, it's not much different.
We'll look into it.
yeah, I can talk to David and see what the specs are for sure on their pole and that thing.
He's probably got a lot of information.
Yeah, and I can talk to Eric on.
more information then for next month's meeting.
Okay. Potholes, we have had, it's that time of year to start patching. I'm probably gonna go try and get some material this week, if it works out. In the past, we went to Huntington and got their patching material. If that's something you all still wanna do, it is expensive.
No matter where you go.
$125.
Is it a cold mix or hot mix?
No, it's that patching material. It's totally different stuff. It's made specifically for potholes. It's not a cold mix. I mean, they mix it in like a hot mix basically, but it's that real fine, works real easy. And the thing that I've liked about what we've used in the past years is when you fix holes with it, you don't fix the same hole twice. I'm not gonna say you won't have a hole come up beside it, but you won't fix the same hole twice. It's pretty good stuff, but we usually stick straight to potholes on it. We don't patch spots the size of the table with it, just for the fact of it being so expensive. But we've done it the last 2 years, I know for sure, if not the last 3 years. And like I say, we've had real good luck with it, but like I said, it is expensive.
How much you said it was?
It's $125 a ton. Our truck we usually go down and then get it in our red truck, which 12 ton roughly, 13 ton, depending on the load.
What's the cost of it for this?
I don't know. That was something we talked about because some of our trucks are sketchy to drive an hour away one way. But I haven't got to talk with anybody to see. I don't need 20 ton of it, so you know when you need a tandem truck or something smaller. It just, that cost would get pretty outrageous hauling 20 ton in. And like I said, when we stick pretty straight to just the potholes, fixing them and not patching big spots with them, it does help.
How many ton are you thinking you're needing in this?
Well, that's what I say, we usually get 12 to 13, and it usually runs us. We went and got back and went and got some more before, but,
Yeah, we're gonna have to do something.
yep, it's that time of year, and like I said, still, we talked about the last couple of meetings, still trying to come up with a plan, what you wanna do this summer and stuff as far as fixing streets. I've talked to some oil companies, I'm still waiting on some calls from them to get some bids together for oil prices.
we did get the distributor out, it's running. So we're in the process of trying to get it all up and going, make sure we're ready to roll with it.
Are the prices higher quite a bit?
I don't know, like I said, I haven't got enough with I was trying to get from like 3 different companies and get the bids. No, I don't think they're gonna be that much worse than they have in the past, but I haven't had to deal with it, you know, I mean, it's been 4 years since we've done anything, and that was before my time, you know, as far as.
Well, I know it's 20,000 transport before, and you haven't called about it yet.
No, I have called about it.
Well, but I asked you a couple months ago.
Right, and I'm calling, I know, but I'm waiting on some calls back from them.
Takes 2 months to get a call back from somebody.
No, to get all my bids put together from them. I've got one from Marathon Oil, so I've called. And I've left the guy 2 or 3 messages. I don't know what else to do with him. I've talked to their transport guy, that's where I got my numbers from the state, because the phone numbers we had weren't even in order anymore. So that took some running around to do. But it is a work in progress on getting that going.
We do need to fix our potholes. Do I hear a motion to purchase 12 to 15 ton?
That'd probably be.
I'll make that motion to 12 to 15 ton at $125 a ton.
Go ahead, Rick.
Okay, let's put it to a vote. All in favor? Aye, nay.
See how far it goes.
Right.
We might do so good, we might just do the whole town.
We may have to.
We might have to this year.
So on the list.
Have you ever looked into, I mean, back when I was a kid, I'd see the patching streets in my hometown, they would actually layer the hole with some oil before they put the patch in. Not worth it.
We tried that one year, and
Yeah.
just a waste of money. To me it was.
I mean, of course, it was cold mix too, they were patching it, so.
Yeah. That's what I said, this material's, it's
Yeah.
worth its weight in gold, because you can go back over the streets and find places we've patched with it in the last few years, and like I said, they don't come back. And I'm not saying it won't start one right beside it, but the holes we fix usually stay. It's good stuff. Went through, our SCADA system has went up with the wastewater plant, lift stations and things of that nature. So I'm not sure how you want me to check all them. We don't have any Wi-Fi connection at our city barn. If you want me to run reports up through here, or if you want to put Wi-Fi, we used to have Wi-Fi down there. But we don't have an operational computer either, so I mean, that's something to think about, I guess.
We had 3 bidders here.
We have
2.
computers that are both budgeted to be replaced this year. So one of them would be one that would work.
What were we doing in the past?
Yeah.
We just checked the manual before always.
We don't have any Wi-Fi there now, that would be another added expense.
I had it down there, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. So, and it doesn't matter to me, I'm just making that aware to you that you've paid to put the SCADA system in, but in order to use it, you've gotta have internet connection. And I mean, the benefits of it is, like I said, it, you know, we'll call you out for different alarms, or if your pump fails and things of that nature, but.
You can't get the trending reports or anything else to see if it blows it up.
Well, I mean, it's all compatible on my phone. I mean, you can look it up on a phone, but I'm not gonna use all my personal data to look up all this city stuff.
What is the Wi-Fi in Edina? Every once in a while I have my iPad somewhere and it'll say Edina South Wi-Fi. Whose Wi-Fi is that? But of course I have no password for it. So what is that?
You're just bleeding off of a neighbor somewhere.
That's somebody's home, I mean, they've named it that.
Okay, I was gonna say, cause I'm uptown somewhere in this area.
The benefits of being able to check that is that he can get on there and see if a pump's running too much at one certain time. It also keeps track of the weather, so it'll tell you exactly how much the pump is running during a rain, after a rain. It keeps track of all of that, so it's very beneficial for him to be able to check that. I've gotten on it with my computer at the wastewater plant because I know what the password is, because they've made me as the third backup operator for the lift stations in case they're out of town or whatever. So I can get on there, and it is kind of, you can tell there's something wrong here, or, you know, I mean, you'll be able to. I mean, nothing's wrong right now. Do I?
That's what we was looking at this afternoon.
It's a totally different system. This is strictly on the computer. My system down there has that SCADA panel itself, plus has a off-site server that I get onto to turn things on if I'm not at the wastewater plant. I can get on that server, which connects through our internet connection inside the wastewater plant to control that panel that you looked at today. This is actually a complete off-site data. What that does is it communicates by radio signal to this company. They compute all the data and send it back so we can observe it.
So basically, it's just for profiling how things are working.
Yes, and it'll.
Would that be better to have that on your phone or?
Well, it's basically it's a website. So, I mean, I can pull it up on my phone as long as I've got internet, or you can pull it up on a computer either way.
But after hours, it would be down there.
Well, no, let's just say it's a website. So, I mean, I can get it anywhere I've got connection. If I've got a Wi-Fi connection in the state of Illinois, I can pull it up and look at them.
It logs all the alarms, who acknowledged the alarms, who fixed the problem, because we've all got a magnetic key that when you show up there, you punch that magnetic key in there, and key number 3 was here and fixed the problem, and then it clears the alarm, all of that. So I mean,
If we're just gonna use it for profiling and stuff like that, I personally don't feel that we probably need another computer expense or a Wi-Fi expense anymore in the city.
if he needs to print off a report or something, I've got computer and printer at the wastewater plant. We can look it up there, and if he wants to
We got one there.
get a
We got
trending
two
graph
there.
or something, he can come down there
Right.
anytime and use it.
So if you have an issue down there and you're not available, then you can get a hold of Ty? Is that how that works?
Yes. Ty would be my backup operator at the
But
plant.
you would make that call?
If I'm out of town and there's a problem at the wastewater facility and it calls me and I acknowledge the alarm and I can't fix it from the computer, I'll have to call Ty, and if I get a hold of him, I have to have him go down there and walk him through what needs to be fixed or block something out, whatever needs to be done, he'll do it. If for some reason Ty's unavailable, then I would call Jason Barnhill and say, go down there, third panel on the left, tell me what that's doing.
That's how that works right now.
Right.
And this,
The lift stations are set up on
this what we're
alarms.
talking about, it has nothing to do with that chain of.
It's
No,
it's
the
backwards.
plant and the lift stations are separate. But yeah,
Right.
Mike's first on the call list for the sewer plant.
Right.
But now if the lift station, if a pump goes down, the alarms start going off, with the SCADA deal, it's gonna call me. And if I don't respond within like 5 minutes, it's gonna call Jason. If he don't respond within 5 minutes, it's gonna call Mike. Until it gets a hold of somebody to say, hey, you've got a problem. And once you acknowledge it that, okay, it's going off, then the call quits.
What the computer would be, if I'm right, would be so they could get on through the workday hours and see if there's a problem developing.
It eliminates the run around day to day to read them all by hand, because it pulls them up, it gives you pump hours, that sort of thing. So, and it, like I said, wastewater plant's totally fine, I'm just making you aware of it, it's in effect, we paid for it, you know, so.
Does the board want to vote on this at this time or table?
Maybe we ought to get some prices on what it's gonna cost. I mean, I don't. If it's cost effective, we might look at it.
They've been running 3 years this way.
We didn't have SCADA 3 years ago,
How long you had SCADA?
about 2 months. It went into effect about 2 weeks ago. And like I said, I'm totally fine with using it, I'm just throwing it out there so you're aware.
One of my concerns is even if with the SCADA, it would be far easier to get online, look that up, and not go out and look at each site.
Right.
I mean, I still wanna see that done too.
Well, you still have to, I mean,
So
we
that
still,
we can
we
catch
still
it.
have to clean lift stations and things of that,
Right,
and
so we keep them clean.
that's
we get
not eliminating,
fans, we, you
but
know,
it's
things
just
like
the-
that, so.
right.
And if, basically, what I'm gathering is it's just it's a tool to see if you're having problems, cause then I see no reason why we couldn't go to the wastewater plant and look it up and print it all.
Right.
Instead
And
of
that's
some-
fine.
Another computer.
I'm just making you aware of where we're at on it, and so.
So does it go to entertain do the vote? Or that Ty goes to, make a motion to go, that Ty goes to the wastewater plant for his computer purposes for the SCADA system, or do we need to discuss it further?
Do we need a motion for this? You probably wouldn't need it.
No, I think we'll just. It's all good, I got it. Lastly, something to think about, I don't know what you wanna do, but we did budget for a new mower, these were the prices, so you can, something to look over. That's the garden spots sheet. The farm shop, I just wrote the bid on it, that's all I got for farm shop, is just a written bid, but farm shop actually gives you all the options in mowers. We highlighted kind of what we were looking at, I guess.
Is the one we got worth nothing to trade?
Not really.
So is
Not
this
really?
one you'll use it down at the?
This would be the City Barn River Park, this is zero turn. We all talked with Mike, and like, I think the farm shop's offer on the mower, on our Massey, which we've had since '03, was like $3,500 or something, Trey. I mean, it was almost beneficial to us to keep it around for instance a backup mower if one of our mowers goes down, and for the fact that we can use it to drag the ball fields, and it works great for hooking the sprayer behind it, for spraying all the spraying we do, because steering wheel versus joystick, you know, the handles. So
It's probably safer on slopes.
we were thinking about keeping it around.
One thing I'm dragging the ball fields with is zero turn, and 2 years ago, we had a new hydraulic motor put on one side from dragging the field one direction, and the hydraulic motor was $1,300. So, I mean, that's just a thought as far as I won't have that potential.
I recommend you not pull anything with the zero turn.
Right. That's right. This is in fact.
It works, don't get me wrong, it works and it gets the job done, it's just it'd be.
It's harder.
They don't tell you that until after you have to put a motor in.
Yeah.
They've been there,
You've
done
had some
it.
experience?
Been there, done it.
So these are all cash out bids, I mean,
That
no trade-in. Yeah, buy
Right,
out, yeah.
right. And that was, what, November, I think, when we put those.
The one with the X, is that the one you're preferring?
Well, of those, I mean, that's, the difference is the bottom is what has the heavier.
Everybody see that?
They have the heavier
Okay,
deck
three of them.
and the heavier height deck, the motor's a little heavier in it. So of these, I mean, this has got a bigger motor, is why it's a little more expensive. I'm not real sure what, this is different, that's why it's a little more expensive, I guess, but that's kind of the low end of the Super Z. The Super Z's got the heavier, the big difference is the heavier deck, and they throw the air ride seat in there, which don't like much, but it's more the heavier deck.
You're gonna want the purple stuff for as much mowing as you're doing.
Right.
That other won't last you. that long.
And like I said, we've always,
Was it speaking in the budget? I'm assuming it was.
yeah, it was approved.
In the
by-
budget, okay, I thought it was.
The $7,600, does that include the $100 or we add the $100?
No, you have to add the, and that was just something we talked about with a little bit rougher tires, they just get around a little better in the street.
What do we get out of the mower, about 3 years? 4?
We've had ours
Had
since
that one.
03.
Three, he said, 13.
I had it, the sewer plant had that mower actually
12
before,
years.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, I looked at, the city bought that mower in '03, and it was on a trade deal.
Really? Do you say these two are equal then? Would you say that?
Yeah,
Or-
that's like, they didn't give me a list. I asked, Robbie last fall, was looking at getting bids for a mower, just need a 60-inch deck with a gas engine. That's the dollar figure he gave me. I don't know.
So would this one be plus 100 for the tires? Also?
I would imagine, yeah. And I've gotta make sure, I mean, when I talked to these guys, I told them that it'd be next year before we did anything. He told me the price would be good, but once again, I'm gonna have to double check the price on it, so.
When we put a John Deere out there, stick on the
That's why I'm asking.
We'll keep the old one up.
That's kinda what I was thinking. I bought a 2-year-old Hustler 5 years ago, and I still got it, and it's still, I had one little problem with it. Right after I bought it, a hydraulic motor went out, and he fixed it free of charge. I only had it 30 days, and I bought it used as is, and he still fixed the hydraulic motor. He was extremely well to work with, and I haven't had any problems with parts or anything, but I haven't needed anything major, so.
How long did it take him to get the part that you were out of?
The hydraulic motor, he ordered it the day that it went out on mine, and 3 days later he called me and said, bring it to me, and I went and picked it up that afternoon. Now, I've heard of people that have had instances where it's been 2 months before they got their lawnmower back from him, so I don't know if I'm lucky or they were unlucky, I don't know. My experience with him has been all good. And we've done everything with the farm shop before. I mean, we just giving you some bids to compare. It doesn't matter to me either way. I mean, Exmark motors are just as good as a Hustler, you know.
I've dealt with the farm shop and dealt with side restrictors, and farm shop will give you a loaner mower if yours broke down.
Right.
Side
I mean, they've
restrictor
been
won't.
good to deal
I
with.
mean,
Yeah, I mean,
they're good to.
that's
work
just a
with,
comparison
even
bid,
if
so
it
it's
does
something
take
to
you a
look
while.
at.
Takes some
This
time.
isn't Julin, this is just his asking. Mike, what you laugh about? Bet you can get that cheaper.
We all want the biggest bang for our buck.
Yeah.
Can we see, before we vote on this, can we see some other, I mean, options of what goes with these things? Before we make a decision, as far as, did we just ask what a new one cost, like she said?
I was trying to get bids, that's
Okay.
the sheet, I mean, that's, I mean, on the garden spot one, however many numbers are, that's the different mower, I mean, there's like 10 different mowers or something on there.
Is this, the one we're using now, is it 60?
Yep.
61?
Yeah, I don't
That
know
works
really
pretty well
anything,
for us?
yeah, we don't really need anything bigger because the park, if you got
You
anything
go to
bigger,
72
it
and
gets,
you get,
right,
gets on
wavy
level.
and,
Right.
so, yeah, that's what we've got now. And ours is on, it's on the second deck? Yes. We put a new deck on that mower 2 or 3 years ago.
Is this the welded deck then, both of these? I'm
pretty sure
saying if
the
it-
heavy one I know will be.
Where'd we buy the last one?
Yeah, you can go see if, Alan or Jim will, I guess Robbie.
After we do that
Get closer
water
to that
deal,
marker.
we'll be in better mood after that, right?
More than likely. More than likely.
I mean, they always market, asking price, always come down.
Doesn't matter, whichever one you decide to go with, but see if I can get closer to that, maybe. For the same, we're talking pretty much the same.
Right.
Heavy duty size mower and everything.
Are we gonna run it, what's our budget on this, run 3 years and trade out, or?
We didn't decide anything.
It's not budgeted.
No, we just budgeted for this, I brought these in, the budget was set for like $9,600, I think we took the top dollar, whatever what they budgeted for.
Okay.
But we didn't set in there to do it for.
When's the next year we get another mower?
It was never decided.
But a mower's budgeted for 9,600 for this year?
Right.
Okay.
That's what the vote was, I mean, that's the exact sheet. the
Maybe
bids
we'll
were.
ask either one of these what they would do with us in 3 years or something. We put a lot of miles on it in 3 years, a lot of wear and tear.
Depends,
The
it's
mower at
not.
the barn has how many hours on it?
I don't remember on that, it's got quite a few, I'd have to go look.
Or do we just rotate that down to something else and get another one, or? Cause the other one lasted 13 years.
Well, see, he's got an X-Mark now. I'm sure, I don't know how long when they bought it, Brad had it, it's a diesel.
I don't know how, I don't know what year we bought it. We got the Massey the first year David Stahl worked for the city, whatever year that was.
I wonder what leasing options could be or would be. Would that be? Cause if we could lease one cheaper and always have one newer one, would we leave more money ahead to do that over time? If we're gonna trade, or if we're just gonna run it to death. Do it this way.
My thought on the lease would be is that they're definitely gonna come out on top on the lease.
They will?
It's just like a car, you know, you lease a car, they tell you can only do 12,000 miles a year or something.
Right.
Mowers are gonna have hour limits on per year, and you guys are mowing enough, you're gonna have more hours.
Wait a minute, how many hours do you mow a year?
I don't know how you put a number on that, I mean.
Depends on the year.
Yeah, it depends on the weather, depends on the, I mean, we mowed the city park, the old barn, city lake. We went around the water tower a little bit, which ain't much.
Last year you was mowing about every 4 days.
Well.
I'd say you're 350 to 400 hours a year.
Yeah, I need to have more, I mean.
That's a lot.
You know,
guys mow a lot.
at times it can be once a week, and if you mowed everything, you can mow everything that we mow in a day. You know, if you're really on it half or 3/4 a day, you can do it all, so. You figured 6 hours a week, just on an average to get you close.
I guess I was figuring all of my mows.
Well, yeah, Mike.
What's everybody thinking?
I think they need to tweak farm shops.
I think so too, I think we need to either show them this or something.
You can't show them.
You don't show them, somebody did.
No, but, no, okay, sorry, not show it to them, but just say, hey, you know what?
I guess what I wanna
Can you
know
do
is
better?
with the options, are we comparing apples with apples, or we getting an apple here and we're getting an orange here and a banana here? So, I guess, let's just go ahead and get the option sheets, we'll compare them, go that route, I suppose.
Yep.
And hopefully they'll pick the better one for the city for long use.
We're still in good shape as far as the mowing's getting started this year.
It started.
Okay.
Yeah, it started. All I've got, unless you got anything.
If that mower is similar to that mower, the 84 and the 9680, as far as all the options go, or
Well, I can tell you as a rule of thumb, the Hustler's gonna be cheaper.
just because of the name of it,
Well, they are as a general.
but it's basically the same mower with a different name.
Pretty much. I've rode both of them. Well, the biggest difference I can see, if you wanna see just a ride-out difference in riding one, is X-Mark blows grass about 2 foot farther than a Hustler will. It's a big difference I can see as far as sitting on one and riding on one. They both do a good job.
Underneath, how they throw them out.
I'll get the Skeets, or I'll talk to them and see is it.
Alrighty, there is a few, potholes that probably need to be addressed rather quickly. It's been brought to my attention post office, there was a lady that fell this winter.
What do you guys wanna do with that? If you want me to fix it, I'll fix it, but
I think they need to be fixed, I mean,
we went over this with Piccoli's driveway, it's their driveway. So, and then I'm fine with it, if you want us to try and fix it now, be within reason on this too, that their driveway is significantly lower the street, and that is all supposed to go, the water is set up to go north. And Casey's has poured their drive, which is higher, so it's almost a handcuff situation. Now, we'll mess with it if you want us to, but I just want you to know that, that I don't wanna open a bag of worms and everybody saying, well, you fix their driveway, and then you come fix my driveway, so.
I don't wanna fix any driveway, what I wanna do is fill the pothole that's in the street to the north of the mailbox. That is deep.
North of the mailbox.
right there,
It's right by the mailbox.
Right by the mailbox,
The whole
and there's one
mailbox
north of
street.
the
It's in the
mailbox.
street, I mean,
It's kind of a fine line, I think, isn't it, Ty? We've talked before, but.
Once again
It's a-
though, they're using the mailbox for a post off, it's the post office's guy, and I'm just stating, I mean, the post office is the one that has to pull over there to use that, people to the post office. And like I said, I'll fix it if you want me to fix it, I'm not saying, I don't have a problem fixing it, I just,
How big a hole is it?
oh, it's big.
It's
pretty good, so.
But like I said, the problem is, it's just a low spot there.
it needs
It's
to
always
be,
been a problem,
it needs to be fixed,
but I don't know how to fix it.
put some blacktop in it.
I'm not sure if it's
They
black
tried.
or,
Huh?
what about concrete?
Like I said, when
I
they
don't
changed
know.
the drain, where it don't drain now, I mean, I think Alan or Mike said you guys
We tried, yeah, we
filled it in
tried.
to try to get the
Yeah,
water.
we
We put
Yeah,
asphalt
put
in
a
it to
bunch
try
of
and build it
asphalt in.
up, and then it just,
I mean,
the
that-
asphalt
when it
turns and
freezes,
crumbles off, and
yeah.
then you're back where you started.
Heck, I about got stuck there, this winter in my van.
Cause of the ice?
I was in the
Bad.
pothole.
Oh,
You don't go to the drop box, do you?
no.
Guess not. I go there.
I've got a flag I put up on
Don't
my mailbox.
But, you know, what is the city policy? Cause, I mean, my driveway at the core to the east is the same way. It's,
Right, right.
I mean, it's kinda right.
We ought to know where the street starts and the, not street.
Well, see, you have a right of way, but then that's where you open yourself up for,
Is it sidewalk into the roads?
every road has a certain range. Most roads are 66 feet from total width, so you take
I
33
don't have a
feet.
problem fixing a pothole in front of the mailbox.
The only reason why I brought it up is that it is as much of the taxpayers and they are wanting it done, whether it is on the mailbox or not.
I hear complaints on it too.
I have here.
I get lots of complaints. And I don't want to throw you guys on the bus, but I refer them back to you, so that's probably why you get the
That's all right. That's all right.
That's what we're here for.
Let's try to
Sorry,
fix
John.
it and we'll end that complaint.
I
I think it's gonna be fixed every year. I don't think it'll ever stay.
don't disagree with that.
I think it's a situation that's gonna have to be done every year.
Fix potholes every year too, though.
That's correct.
This is more of a pothole. This is a huge crater.
But maybe if we clean that to the south out to where some of
So
the
we
water
did
will
part
drain
of
out.
that, I
Yeah.
mean,
It might.
that's your only other option, is to try and drain it out, but there's gonna be a big ditch there. Because it's designed to go north. But yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying.
Do we get that asphalt off the driveway? That we,
We got part of that
It's
off
loose.
already. Yeah.
It's loose.
Well, that's what happens when the
It's
water,
washboarded.
when it sits in the water, that's
Right.
what it does.
but even on the property of the.
Nice bust.
Across the way at the food pantry,
We're gonna be here a long time tonight, it seems like.
theirs is tore up too.
Yeah, that's where you go again, I mean, that's actually up on the food pantry side though, right?
It's like where they, you know where that door is that faces the post office, where people pull in,
But
park
is it
right
in the
there.
gravel, or is it actually out on the blacktop?
It's on blacktop.
I'll look at it.
Maybe it's I don't know.
With the blue room, from sidewalk to the blue room, the road, the ditch and train, is that you guys? And-
I've been asked about that before. Had somebody
I mean,
ask me,
people, I mean, it's safety hazard, people go in there to eat, and you can't have to walk into a ditch.
Like a
before you
crater,
get to-
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
see, and that's where you get into it, if it's something you gotta put a tube in, that's
Who's responsible?
that's the blue room's deal. It's no different than somebody's house, if I wanna step across the ditch to get to my house, I gotta pay to put the tube in. that's more of a deal, and once again, I'll fix it if you want me to fix it, I don't, but that's more of a deal to me where Linda needs to put short stub tube in or something, or we can do it, I mean.
Or she have to pay for the tubing, you guys do the labor, or?
Right, and a deal like that for just the steps, we could cut an old piece of sewer pipe and lay in there and there wouldn't be. But the problem is, what do you hold it with? It's concrete, it's a concrete gutter on asphalt. You can't put rock on it, it's gonna just wash it out. So unless you put something substantial on top of it, how you gonna hold a tube with a concrete bottom? Unless you were to pour I mean, what theoretically you done, you just pour a little slab of concrete over top of it and leave a grate underneath, but. Anyway, that's whatever you guys want me to do, I mean, I'll fix it if you want me to fix it.
Well, I think the post office needs fixed tight, I really do, I mean, it's,
And that's
it's
fine,
really,
I'll fix it.
that would be my opinion.
That's what you guys want me to do, that's what we'll do. Do you have something else for me, Ryan?
Yeah, I went around the streets now, Fulton Street, it's off of P. There's no stop signs, there's a 4-way there, there's a 3-way there, no stop sign. I mean, just, anybody can drive, pretty much, hello, you go off Fulton, you can go, there's a stop sign here to go there, off of P, every speed on this road. Yeah.
It'll be right in front of Margaret O'Donnell's house,
There may be a stop sign, 2-way stop sign, 4-way stop sign right there, because it's not a safety hazard, people go down and go down, and be wrecked right there.
You got a stop sign to the north, as you're coming onto the state highway there, it works. But coming off the other way, what he's saying is, you got a free run there till you get to,
You got kids, and 6 houses of them.
Lafayette Street, would be the first stop sign there.
That intersection's always been a little hairy, cause it's coming up the hill. The intersection we talking about being Monticello and Fulton.
Yeah, Monticello, Fulton right there.
Do we have any stop signs?
I can get
Order
them. Yeah, we don't have any new ones, we just got faces ready to do them,
I
but.
don't know if the best way is to do 2-way or 4-way, or like that.
Well, you're talking about slowing traffic down on Fulton Street,
Yeah.
so you just need the 2.
2-way.
I mean, that other one's a T, they're gonna have to slow down anyway, right there, cause you're not coming, it's just a T intersection.
So this is more of
But then, you gotta remember, we had somebody wanting a stop sign down by Ryan Bishop's house. Or another block from that, we didn't give them one.
Where were they wanting it there?
They're saying the four-way right there at Fulton and Lafayette.
You can't throw a stop sign up everywhere.
We got stop signs going from north to south, right there on Fulton at Lafayette. It's, they're just nothing there from there to the 4-way. So we talked at one time at one of the meetings about possibly putting a freeway out there. Is it, not Baker Street, but even the next one, Cottage. Which we're slowing down a little there, but I think ideally it would be the next street, but then you got that little grade coming up, which was, that was.
There's one in front of Rusty's house, and one probably one of the world's worst about tapping those rates and buying through anywhere.
Oh, over there to.
Yeah, I don't know, if the stop sign will help.
I mean, and there has been.
Well, and what we're talking about is slowing down, so, I mean.
There has been wrecks in that intersection. I had a grandma get hit in that intersection years
Where
ago. With Monticello and Fulton, we were talking about.
Monticello, yeah, oh yeah, we've had several at Monticello.
Right. So. But once again, that's.
And you could do a 4-way there. But you already got a stop sign, you want the next one block down. So that's what I was saying.
I'd almost.
Maybe put the 2 up at the next one,
Well,
maybe turn the stop sign the other direction on the other one.
My theory
Stop them on
on that
Monticello
one is,
instead of-
you can do, yeah, stop them on Monticello.
Stop them on
Do the full
Monticello on
one,
that
do the
one,
full
turn the other one on Fulton. And you got them slowing in both directions.
So you're suggesting more time?
I would say if you want to do anything with that intersection, rather than put the 4-way in or something, I would just stop them at Monticello. If you're going up Monticello Street,
East and west on Monticello.
stop right there, and that way you can see if anybody's coming up the hill or from the north. Nothing north from south traffic go, because they got a stop sign at Junior Crabtrees anyway.
And it's a
And
kind of
they
a
got one
roundabout coming back on Monticello too, so.
Right.
It just comes back from around the block. Basically, it's just.
Yeah, that's pretty heavily traveled. A lot of people don't like pulling the hills on Marion and Route P, so they come clear to four-way to come in,
Yeah.
so.
That's right.
That's why we, it said on Lafayette Street not to do it on Baker because of the, coming up that hill right there.
Right.
When you're coming from the west, just enough of a grade, it's kinda hard to get started up.
Why don't we look at that individually ourselves and go from there? Is there any more questions for Ty?
Ty, you brought something up for the board to see, and I set it right here in the garage because we got, I kind of forgot to.
Sorry, that was a
Yeah,
quick one.
you said, I said it right
I just
there.
can't, I have to look at it.
This was, it wasn't important, this was just if you were curious about.
I know where he's talking.
The lining.
How much is that bad, but lining that big hill.
This was just if you were curious about what the lining crew's actually doing. We brought some of the material to show you what before. This is what they blow in there. So it's like a big sock. It has to stay cold, and then they get down, they cook it, and it cures up to this. So the inside of your pipe's just like PVC. So, that's your before and after. That's just so you kind of aware what it
Well, then
looks
why
like.
don't you take pictures of that?
They blow that inside the pipe.
Yeah, they blow it in there just like a sock.
You blow it up like a balloon.
Mm-hmm. And then they throw some serious heat to it.
That's all the steam you see.
That's all the
coming.
steam you
That's
see,
right,
yep.
okay.
That's why around a lot of the manholes, you can tell they're black, but it really gets hot enough that the oil probably gets pretty warm. That's why they're real dark around the manholes. And then that's what it comes out like. Well, that's what stays in there like. And then they go back in with a camera.
How do you patch that if we ever have trouble with that?
It cuts
Just like PVC.
Really?
Yep.
And they got collars for it?
They go back in there with their camera and it's basically got a little saw in there and they go there. It'll be sucked in. There'll be a hole where like there's a lateral. It'll actually suck up in it. They take the little saw in there and cut it out and find on down the line to go.
You'll use a fern coat just like you would for clay pipe because the outside diameter will be the same size as the 8-inch clay pipe because it doesn't actually remove the clay pipe, it just forms to the inside of it, so you use the same clamp you would use if you were repairing clay sewer pipe.
Anything else for me?
I think that's all.
So what you say, stop sign thing, and
We're
everybody.
gonna look
We're
at
gonna
it.
look at
Yeah.
it.
Police department.
Our flow's been up a little bit. We're running at 114% capacity. They're doing an awful lot of cleaning. We have had some rain. Last month we were down a little bit. This month we're up a little bit. I don't have an explanation why. Hopefully the lining crew's gonna make a little more significant impact on our infiltration. I do know that on like a half-inch rain, we are down probably at least 30 to 40% on our flow as we would have been in a half-inch rain last year. So I do know that they're making an impact. The numbers don't show that as much, but they would be, you know, at 30 to 40%, we'd be running at like 150% capacity instead of 114. So keep that in mind. Our BOD and suspended solids, we're all running steady with all of our test results. If you look down there at section 3, I've got a few things that need to be addressed at the plant that are just maintenance items. We put the UV bulbs back in. They've got to be in by the 1st of April. They come out the 31st of October. The intensity sensor on the UV pit is bad. It runs on a 40-20 milliamp signal. We've got power from the panel going to the sensor, but we don't have anything coming back to compute the data to have an intensity readout. As you can see, there I stated the fact that it does run without it, and we are disinfecting. Our E. coli sample last week was less than 1. It's not causing us a problem. I included the quote to fix the UV sensor on the back. That's what's stapled to your report. I about fell over in my chair when I figured out what that little sensor costs. I don't know why it costs that much. I really have no idea. It comes with about a 20-foot cable, plugs into the bottom of that control box and tells me how strong our output is. We have to be at a certain intensity to do the disinfection that we're required to do. I can't verify that we are at that intensity at this moment because it reads 0. So that's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, that's something that I just thought I'd bring it to your attention. We will be ordering that sensor in the month of April. The composite sampler that we have for our effluent will no longer turn on. I've checked the battery. I don't know if something went bad in the board. I contacted the company that makes it, and they said it could be condensation, could be this, could be that, but it's about $2,000 to send it to them and have them take it apart. Or it looks like the prices are going to be between $2,500 and $5,000 to replace it. The $2,500 one, I'm still checking. They're trying to check to see if the controller for $2,500 will fit my actual sampler, because it's an upgraded model, so its dimensions are a little bit different, and they're trying to check to see if I can put that one on my sampling container and it'll all fit. If it is not compatible with the container and the actual housing that I have, then we have to purchase a whole new one. I'm required by DNR to have a 48 aliquot sample, which has to be over 24-hour period, which means it has to be sampled in the middle of the night through that 24-hour period. So I can't take samples during the day and then come back and take samples the next day. It has to be in one 24-hour period. So that's a must-have. Hopefully we can get away with the put a new controller on our sampling container that we have and not have to spend the extra money to buy a whole new sampler. And last, I've been contacted by a couple lagoon customers. They have phosphorus monitoring on their new permit, which starts in 2017. Ours isn't up in 17. I think ours is up in 19, I think, our permit. I'd have to look to be sure, but we will have phosphorus monitoring on our next permit also. I checked all the equipment, and the cheapest I can come around is going to be about $2,000 to buy the equipment to monitor for phosphorus. That will be a test that we can charge for on our lagoons. I would say in the next year or 2 years we're going to be monitoring phosphorus ourselves, which is something we're going to have to spend anyway. That's something that we don't need, but we do all the sampling for all the lagoons everywhere else, and if they have to take one sample somewhere else, they may decide to take all their samples somewhere else. So I just thought I would bring it to your attention that it's something that they're going to, and it might be something that we want to invest in to ensure that we keep testing, and that money comes in handy.
So do we know how much the phosphorus monitoring the labs get?
I don't know. I'm going to have to contact some other labs and find out what they charge for it. And I'm also going to have to run the test and see how long it takes, see how much time it takes up of mine before I can come up with a justified bill for it. You know, I mean, I can't see it being over 30 to 45 minutes to actually do the test. So, and there's some reagents that we have to figure in there that we have to buy to add to the water that changes its colors and do different things to it. So it's going to be a time issue basically to see what we can charge for it and what other labs charge for it also. But That's all the good news I have for you tonight.
You say it all up,
Well, you figure this thing could pay for itself by testing,
I think within 4 or 5 years it will pay for itself.
yeah,
Yes.
last that long?
The ammonia testing that you guys bought, we bought, Brad said you started doing that like 6 years ago. And we charge $20 a pop, and we do roughly about, well, when we do La Platas, we do a ton. You know, I mean, that's just, but they don't have a phosphorus monitoring, and they don't look to have phosphorus monitoring because there's no discharge. But the other lagoons, we do probably 5 to 7 ammonia samples a month, and we charge $20 for that test. If you look at that, that's $140 if you do 7, it's $100 if you do 5. So $100 a month, it's $1,200 a year,
Right.
is what we make on the ammonia testing. The reagents and stuff cost me about
Per
30
customer?
per customer.
So how many customers are there?
There's 5 to 6 customers, so it's $20 per customer per month.
So it paid itself off the first year.
Not quite. This is the same style of sampler, but they're not interchangeable.
Right.
So it costs about the same amount of money to
So
be
we
able to.
can get a
Within
return on it.
within 2 to 3 years, if everyone, right now I've just got 2 lagoons that are gonna go to phosphorus, so we're looking at $40 a month, if it's $20. If it takes me an hour and a half to run the test, it's gonna be a little more than $20. You know, it'd be more like $35, depending on how long it takes me to run the test. I've never run it. I read in the Standard Methods book on the procedure. It seems like it's gonna be a 20-minute test, but I don't know that till I actually run it. There's some.
Is this a test you can do with the other one at the same time? Or?
I can run them consecutively. So there's some digestion that has to be done to change it to a orthophosphate. So there's some things that need to be done in there that I don't know how long that's gonna take.
So Mike, how many clients do you have down there that you do testing for altogether?
I do all of Knox County's customers, which would be Bering, Herdland, Knox City, Newark. There's one more in that group. I can't think.
Novelty?
No, I don't do novelties.
Herdland.
Herdland. Did I say Herdland?
Bering, Knox City, Vernon, Newark, and one more.
You only do 4 for them.
I only do 4 for them. Okay, and then there's Canton. We do Canton quarterly, so it's not monthly. And then we do LaBelle monthly, Shelbyville, and then we do La Plata daily. Daily. They pay us almost $1,900 a month to do their.
Do they bring it to you?
Really?
And they
So
bring it,
this lab test on here is what
It's the,
taken in
and they bring it to me.
testing only.
are we in the ballpark with everybody else that does this testing
We're,
price-wise?
we're actually about 10% cheaper than everybody else.
So if we get this new stuff, we maybe need to think about that a little bit.
You'll be running off business. They'll go somewhere else.
Or 10% less, but I'm saying if we invest in this new stuff, we might have to up it a little bit.
We're
coming to us 'cause we're
very,
cheaper.
we're very competitive with the other places. The one thing that we have going for us is, Columbia is about the closest lab that will do it. Brad has started doing some at Kirksville, and see, in Brashear, they started taking theirs to Kirksville. We used to do Brashear's here, but they decided to take it to Kirksville because it was closer and easier for their operator to get it to Kirksville than to get it here. The lab work, probably, the outside lab work probably takes up about 20% of my time. My lab work takes up probably about 40% of my time, as far as the tests and stuff that I have to run for myself. The beauty of a lot of these tests is I can run them consecutively. I can run my test and their test all at the same time. So a lot of those are 5-day tests, so they have to bring it to me and I don't have the results for 5 days. because they have to incubate and do what they do. But it's not something that you have to purchase now, you know. Like I said, LaBelle is the big one. They're going to it, I think he said the 1st of June, he has to start monitoring phosphorus. Shelbyville gets a new permit with their new system next year, so it will be January 1. They'll get a new permit, and they'll have time to review it, which won't go in effect till probably September, he said. So, and they'll have phosphorus monitoring with it also. When our new permit goes in, we will have phosphorus monitoring, and since I do all of our lab work, we're gonna buy the phosphorus testing at that time probably anyway, so we don't pay anybody else to do it. So, the reason I'm bringing it to you now is I thought, if we can go ahead and start monitoring theirs in June, we can start paying on our equipment, and it might be paid for by the time we have to actually do our monitoring. That's the only reason I brought it to you right now, and I just wanted to stay ahead of the game. That way, maybe we already had the equipment, and when they ask, I can say, I can do that, bring it here. And they don't have to take it to Columbia or anywhere else to have it done.
Mike, is Brad offering phosphorus testing?
I don't know if he does or not. I don't know what tests Brad offers. I know he was gonna offer oil and grease, which we can't do. It's like a $10,000 setup to be able to test oil and grease, and we had decided when Brad was here not to do that. But when he first went over there, he asked me if we would bring our oil and grease to them when we got ours set up, when he got his facility set up. But they just started construction this spring, so they're a year to a year and a half before they're operational on their new setup. Right now, we do take all of the oil and grease samples for all of our lagoons, and we ship them to Columbia. They're tested under our name with an asterisk and their name next to it. They give us the results, and we bill accordingly to our time. We add our time and our costs and bill them for that. So we don't lose money, but I don't know that we actually make any money on the oil and grease because we're not able to do the test.
We can't afford the equipment, probably.
It's rather expensive, and I don't know. Oil and grease is more of a quarterly sample. The only one that does a monthly oil and grease is us in Shelbyville. So that's 24 samples a month, and or a year, and the others do it quarterly, so it's only 4 samples out of their lagoon a year. So it would take a long time to pay for itself, and we elected to just keep sending them off. But the intensity sensor and the sampler are the must-haves. I guess in a way I'm looking for approval, but I gotta have them. So.
So the intensity sensor is more of a repair and maintenance thing.
It's a repair, and the sampler would be a repair because we already have the sampler itself. We would be replacing an older sample or buying a controller that adapts to our sampler that we have right now for half of the money, which I don't, the controller is the only thing that does anything. The other is just basically a stand for the controller, a container that the water goes into, and a cooler that cools it, which is not, I don't think it's worth $2,500 in my opinion. I would rather be able to put a new controller on ours and make it work if that all works great.
If it works, then it's the lower price.
If it doesn't work, then it's the higher price. That's correct.
I don't really know whether it'll work or not.
The manufacturer is supposed to be getting back with me tomorrow. I talked to him at about 2:30 today, and he was supposed to get back with me first thing in the morning to let me know if that's gonna work or not. If I don't hear from him by 10, I'm gonna call him. cause Wednesday I do samples and I can put it off till Thursday or Friday, but it will be a different style sample if I can't have it this week.
Sounds like it's things we have to have. We'll just keep our fingers crossed that number 2 is the smaller one, huh?
Yes. And I tried to shop around for the sensor deal, except for there's one representative in our area that handles Trojan equipment, and that's the brand that we have, and they're only compatible with Trojan, and they sell to this area, and they've got the market on it, and we can't buy directly from Trojan, so it is what it is. We can't shop around to get a bid. That's why there's only one piece of paper there in front of you. In other words, there'd be at least 2.
Sounds like a good name for something you're gonna take advantage of somebody with. Very good. Is that well worded? Well,
I would have budgeted that if I could have foreseen that those things weren't gonna work when I plugged them in this spring, but they worked when I put them away in the fall, and they don't now, and something in between the time, no more work. So unless you guys have something else for me, that's where I'm at. All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Mark.
I'll keep it short, I'm not asking for anything. Cleanup. That's number 1 right now. So we got cleanup coming up 26th, 27th. Council Park again. So I will time letters to go out. I've got 40 different places. We'll be getting vehicle notices, and 12 that are on the cleanup list for cleaning up their yards. Echo's doing
I'm getting something in the paper.
article in the paper on cleanup coming up, that the letters will be coming out, that kind of thing, and grass mowing will be included in that as well, so that's where I'm at.
Everybody get ready.
That's the majority of my time right now, so it's getting cleanup letters out, so. Pit bull stuff,
Tomorrow is the trial. Tomorrow at
Yes.
3.
tomorrow, so.
Which one?
The one that was here has already been taken care of.
Okay.
School.
You guys have anything for me? Yes,
I
sir.
got a question. I noticed a police car Saturday morning. It looked like it'd been in a mud race somewhere.
Well, actually, it wasn't in a race. The truck was in a race. The car was not. But that's a criminal.
Where did all that clay mud come from?
Gravel road. We were in a pursuit that went out of town.
It's an ongoing investigation, isn't it?
That's a criminal thing, yeah, that I can't discuss
You
much
can't
more.
divulge that information.
No.
But yeah, that's why. Huh?
I seen it was good.
Yeah, the car was just normal speed. The truck, you should have seen the truck. It
Did
was-
you catch him?
Oh, yes. Yes, they're in jail now.
You'll be in the paper tomorrow.
Huh?
You'll be in the paper tomorrow.
What's the penalty of not cleaning up the yard? What's the,
What's that?
give them a ticket, give them a warning first, or?
Give them 10 days, then they have to give them a ticket and go to court, and then you have to get a judgment. Once the judgment's through, then they get fined. We don't do cleanup for them, they get fined. So until it's cleaned up, and they can be fined every day until then. So, I'll clean up. Anything else?
I don't have any more questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Kelly. Go away on
Barrel it.
business. We have a city redone application building permit, John McCurran. Would like to build on 105 North Baker. Residence,
shed house, 36 by 28 plus garage. All 10, Bobby Small, BMD contracting from Memphis, Missouri.
Excellent.
I saw that.
Yeah, I
No.
think, now I understand the date of completion.
That's gonna be on the lot that Chad Arms
Yeah.
has burnt down. The old Dabney house.
Yeah, behind my grandmother's home.
Kind of a give me anyway,
Does,
wasn't it?
so he doesn't own the lot? Does that matter?
I think Ronnie said he
Ronnie
does.
said he sold it.
He's
Ronnie
selling
liked
it to him.
He's selling
once
it to him.
It was final.
Alrighty,
And he did say he was gonna build it on the existing foundation.
correct.
The porch, he said, would come out a little more than the porch that was on the current house. But not, not out to the property line or anything. But the basic house will be on the existing foundation.
Anybody's willing to ride that car, I think probably. So it's nice to see something new can be done.
Yeah, exactly.
And get us more taxes. I guess I would entertain the motion, or as the old mayor would say, more revenue.
I'll make that motion that we approve this building permit.
Second. That house will be there for many years to come. It's kind of an interesting definition of completion date. Alrighty, bids for paying the city lake properties.
So did they vote?
Oh,
I mean, we had a motion
yeah,
to
we-
second.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
my
no.
mistake. What's they use? Now on to.
Oh, now, we have bids, well, we have one.
One. Do I want to open
We
it up?
ran, yeah, you wanna, we ran the notice, again, since we didn't have any bids before. So,
Bid of $10 an acre.
$10 an acre.
That's for the egg round?
How many acres is it? You know,
It
I
says
forget.
approximately 35. And of course, the city reserves the right to reject any or all bids.
Is it from?
Herbert Morrison.
Is that a good bid or?
Receipt.
$10 an acre?
Well, I didn't know we were bidding.
Pretty awfully cheap.
I don't know why you couldn't have though.
Didn't want to.
Oh.
Better than nothing, I guess, but damn. Is that the guy that helped you?
Kelly's
Yeah.
still here.
Will he do that right?
Kelly, is he here?
He
Because
will.
he might be mowing it.
He's wanting to hire me to do it, and I got it, so.
I'm doing it. Oh, okay, back there.
That cheap, you do it yourself. At that
Yeah.
price. I wouldn't mess with it at that price, but that's just my opinion.
Well, we have to know.
Yeah, I know, that just might be.
So if we reject it,
Then
what
we
are
gotta
we
mow
gonna
it,
do? What, are we just gonna leave it?
I don't know, I think that's steep.
What would it cost the city to hire someone to bale it for us and sell the hay?
Well, there's bale hay for custom hire too, what would you charge?
If you're mowing and raking and baling it, it's at least, I would say at least $20 or $25 a bale.
Right, and then you gotta set on it, and hope somebody comes along to buy it.
Okay. Yeah, you have to advertise it, and this year, hay was, what,
$30.
$30 a bale in the highest, 35 if you was really lucky.
Yep.
So you make $10 a bale. How many bales did you get off of it last year?
67.
67, that'd be double the money, but you gotta mess with it, so. I'm just asking.
I know what you're saying.
Is it decent hay or not?
It's
not.
decent hay. I mean, you gotta get it put up right. That's the big problem.
It's probably not good fertilizer. Either, is it?
I didn't fertilize it last year, but it had been fertilized
Had
every
been.
year before. It could really use a good liming to produce more than what it does now. And that, usually liming falls back to the landowner. So it's kind of a catch-22. You're just increasing money out in hopes of getting more money in, kind of like custom haying.
The liming sticks with the ground like 5 to 7 years. Instead of fertilizing it, sticks with it a year, year and a half, something like that. So that's why the landowner takes that responsibility, correct?
Correct.
You mean to lime it?
To lime it, when you lime it, and the lime actually boosts the pH of the ground for 5 to 7 years.
Right, but you're saying the city do it.
The landowner.
The landowner does it.
But can't you do it out to them under a contract for so many years if they'd be interested in doing it? A renter?
Oh, yeah, I mean, you can.
Yes, and again, if we do it year to year, whether we wanna rent them or they wanna rent us, it would, to get anybody to wanna do it that way, Renee, you would almost have to go 7 years.
7 years. The lime's that expensive.
It's not that expensive, it's just, there's no return on it.
Yeah.
Takes a long time to get your return
Right.
back.
What it does is it takes about a year, year and a half to break down into the soil to make the fertilizer
Okay.
work.
What's an acre of lime cost?
Depends on what it calls for.
2 to 4 ton an acre or more. I mean, I've baled it probably every year it's been baled. And I've not seen anything, but it just gradually going down. It don't matter how much fertilizer you pump it with, it's falling off. I agree, that's stealing it, but if you're gonna have somebody brush hog it, you're gonna pay them $17 an acre, $20 an acre to go in and clip it. So.
You don't think if we reject his bid, he'd come back with a higher bid?
Probably
You don't
not.
think?
He knows exactly how many bales it pumps out too, he's gonna. He's the guy that mows it and rakes it and hauls the hay off of it, he knows exactly what I do, so.
Do we not have mowers anymore, a sickle mower anymore down at the barn type?
We do, that would take forever and a day, but
And then no brush hog?
there's brush hog down there, but once again, it would probably take forever and a day, but we can do it.
It's a 6-foot brush hog.
Yeah, but you'd have to do it, what, once a year? You wouldn't keep it mowed like a yard, just to keep it knocked down.
Twice a year?
Twice a year.
Most days.
Yeah, huh?
I'd say, with the Kentucky bluegrass, it'd be twice a year.
Yeah.
What you'll end up doing if you do brush hog it is, that style of grass will not, it doesn't like being trampled on, that maturity. It doesn't take wind well, it doesn't take dead grass on it. What we'll end up having is a big old weed patch.
What's the minimum that we require of them to hay it? Is there a minimum? How many times they mow it? If we give them a bid or give them the contract to?
It's just whatever
You
you
don't
get
get
out of
one,
it.
usually one hand off of it, can't you? It's not
Yeah.
that good to get two hands.
No, no, it's not. In fact, I would call it the middle piece, where the bridge always kinda got smacked on the north end.
Mhm.
And then where the slough is there in the bottom, closest to the clubhouse, that probably puts out the least amount, and it's the second biggest piece on the property. And I can tell you a good reason why we only get one bid usually. It cost me a hay line one year. I found a stump out there, pretty well. It ruined.
I mean, it's a golf course.
Yeah. Cut the stump off about like that, and the grass that grew up over it, and I found it. So, that, and there's trees there, nobody with nice new equipment's gonna wanna go in there and scratch your stuff up. So. Any other questions from you on that? I mean, Mike, you've hayed, would you wanna go in there and try to hay that maze?
I didn't put a bid on it, did I? I mean, I've got ground rented and I give way more for that, but it lays good and it limes and I fertilize it and it's not the best ground, you know, I mean, and that's the reason that we're in the predicament we are.
Well, we must have to look into liming it and fertilizing it then, I guess. Maybe let this guy have it this year, so we don't have to mow it.
I say $3,000's better than paying us to go mow it, just three. You get $3,000 or you get nothing.
$350.
I say
Well,
it's
for
not
that,
$3,000.
sorry, yeah, $350, sorry.
I was liking where you was going with that.
$350 what I meant to say, but either way, it's gonna cost us money to go mow it.
Right, exactly.
Do we have a tractor you could even brush hog with?
That's
We'll
what I
go
wondered
right
too,
now,
if
but
we
I
had a
won't make any
tractor
promises in the long run.
Put up a fence and buy some goats. They'll fertilize it. Yeah, they would. Swim in the creek.
It's a lot of fence.
And go get out on the highway.
So this is for a 1 year lease with the option to renew the second and third years.
Correct, this is,
Doesn't either party have the option?
the way I understood it, when I
Okay,
read it, either party has the option to renew.
Prior to that time of saying no thanks, okay.
And we could probably stipulate it's a 1 year bid.
We'll turn it into a public one.
We would go 1 year.
Okay.
We might wanna check.
Yeah, you might want to, because we advertise it
City
as being,
attorney.
yeah, as being a 1 year lease with the option.
And if I remember the contract I signed last year, you could terminate. or
That's
I could-
right, prior to a certain date, that's what I was thinking.
See you later.
Okay.
We're ready, we're gonna already make a motion on this.
I'll make a motion, we accept it.
Okay.
I'll second. I don't wanna have to mow it.
I hate giving it away though, jeez.
You got a mower?
Yeah,
What you
quite a bit
paying?
cheaper. Yeah, I figure you got sick about that one.
Well, my break even, I had 65 wheels last year, and I got 67.
So you did good on 2 days.
Yes. Paid a lot for 2 wheels.
Yeah.
Or something.
But the other 2 years, you never had that problem, did you? Never had that, did you?
It's
get
better.
that?
It was better than 2 years previous, but
Well, yeah, you do it pretty fertilizer, sure, it's gonna be declining.
We need a vote.
We got a motion.
motion in a second. What say you?
Not as bad as I hate to.
5 yeses, nays,
So 5
abstains,
nays, ayes, okay, 5 ayes and.
1 abstain? No. No,
It was a yay.
okay,
Oh,
6 yeses.
oh, okay, you just took it down quicker. Okay, all right. thing is that the mayor, is usually one of the 4 people that sign checks. And Davey, of course, is gone, so we would
I
need
can't
to,
do it yet.
yeah, you can't do it yet.
Who wants sign checks?
Need to authorize him to sign checks, and then we have to get him all signed up at the bank.
So I'll make a motion that we allow the mayor to sign checks.
Right, Earl said yes, Renee's.
I guess we're ready for vote.
Can you write your name?
Fairly. There's days I wonder.
And then the Clarence Cannon Wholesale Water Commission, we need our representative on the board and an alternate, since Alan Ives was our alternate and he passed away. So, the mayor is usually the customary representative on the board.
Unless somebody else wants to do
That's an important board.
it. Come on, Renee.